At the end of this podcast, I'm going to give you the hug your dad never gave you.
I see him looking at me right now and really thinking about this he needs a hug.
Or maybe I'm just projecting. Maybe I'm hoping that I could get a hug from the hands that caught that ball right off the turf. Maybe you could hold me, gently rock me before I go to my next dancing monkey gig that I have to do.
You do a lot of these dancing monkey gigs.
I do, and this is probably the bottom of the list.
Welcome to a very special episode of Games with Names, presented by Coors Light. I'm Julian Edelman, they're Jack and Kyler, and we are on a mission to find the greatest game of all time. And on today's episode, we are covering Bears versus Dolphins, Week 13, 1985 Monday Night Football game with legendary comedian, die-hard sports fan, and Boston icon, Bill Burr. And we get into talking his thoughts on the current National Football League.
The NFL's in a bad place. The only storyline they have right now is, can he three-peat?
His Boston sports Mount Rushmore.
And I can only pick one white wide receiver, so I'll go with Wes Welker.
Where Dan Marino ranks in all-time.
Nobody could beat the Bears. And this guy went in, he had no weapons, no defense.
And then we get in to the chill zone presented by Coors Light. We're hitting the old chill line to answer your questions about this week's game. You got to stick around to the very end. Let's go. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. December 2nd, 1985, the Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida.
17-year-old Bill Burr with an orange afro. No girlfriend, flunking math. He sits down in front of a square TV. Perfection is in the sight for the monsters of the Midway on Monday Night Football.
But Don Shula and Dan Marino have other plans.
This is the Bears versus Dolphins, Week 13, 1985.
Welcome to Games with Names. Today we have a very special guest to talk about a very random game.
How dare you?
We're going to talk about the 1985 Week 13 Bears versus Dolphins Monday Night Football game with Bill Burr. And Bill, I have one question to ask you in one sentence.
Okay.
Why did you pick this game?
Because after Dan Marino played, or during his career, he got all of this crap that he couldn't win the big one. And he had no weapons. He had no defense. He had an older coach who had a chain of steakhouses, Shula's, right? The game had passed him by. It wasn't like, he kept, adding to his game. They caught up to him. The guy had no running back. He had nothing. He had no help. Okay, and everybody was saying, making it sound like this guy wasn't good. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time who had no help. And in 1985, nobody could beat the Bears. And this guy went in with like a regular defense. Not only beat him, smoked him, 38-24. Dude, they were beating like the Cowboys, who were just perennial, Tom Landry, late in his career. They beat him like 44-0. I remember that on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and the what is it? The 46 defense, dude, was like mythical by the fourth week of the season, and no one was going to stop these guys, and they were going to win the Super Bowl, which God knows they did against my Patriots. We were up 3-0 though. Tony Franklin,
3-0.
Yep, and he went in and just straight up beat him. And I just always feel like one of the biggest curses in sports. There it is. I still remember that cover. And that was mind-blowing. That was mind-blowing that the Dallas Cowboys could get beat that bad at home. They absolutely destroyed them. But, one of the biggest curses in the NFL is to be a highly sought-after draft pick, right? Because you usually end up on a bad team. But then he lucked out going so late in the draft for reasons we're not going to discuss. But if you ever go to Pittsburgh, you can figure it out pretty quickly.
I don't know Pittsburgh like that, but I can put one and one together.
Yeah, he got around town.
Now, Bill, is this the greatest game of all time?
No, I figure everybody's gonna pick like, you guys versus the Falcons or something like that. But like, this is one of the most overlooked games of all time, and all of these like, fat sports writers who were never picked in gym class, they can't wait for the dip in somebody's career. And their thing with him, well, we can't win the big one and blah blah blah, and they ignore this game. They ignore the people around. I remember like his running backs were like Delvin Williams during his career, Tony Nathan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the football player. Swear to God. And he had Duper and Clayton, who were fantastic.
They were really good.
Fantastic. I don't know, but like the Dolphins had like the last two white cornerbacks in the league. They had like who was it? The Greg and Lyle and Kyle Blackwood or something like that.
The exciting whites.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, one was one was a strong safety. I don't know what the other guy was. Okay, you got all the names here. Fulton Walker, you remember the first guy to take a kickoff back in a Super Bowl.
Don't remember that.
But look at these names. Does any of these names, anybody here jump out at you like, oh my God?
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino.
Don Shula.
Look at that. Look at that team. You're telling me this team beats the 85 Bears. They do, and why?
Because the guys were at home with the champagne glasses trying to defeat the undefeated, the old Miami Dolphin guys. You know how they
now
did
you
that?
played this game professionally, right?
I did. I tried.
Okay, and so you just went with that ESPN take?
I tried. Honestly, this
it was 85 degrees in Miami. Chicago's a cold weather team. I'm telling you, I gotta tell you,
Bill, that's hard.
Huh?
That's fucking hard.
What is hard?
Look, do you see our record in fucking Miami in December? It's like owing like $1 million. Because when you go
it was too hot out?
Dude,
well, because you guys went to South Beach the night before.
You think we went to South Beach
Dude,
the night before with Bill Belichick? You think we went to Bill Belichick?
Hot ass. Your team, dude, every year I watch it with the Bruins and the Celtics. They come here, they go down to Anaheim, or they play the Clippers and the Lakers. They always lose one. There's always one night is always the party night, and then we're going to try against the Lakers. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
If you saw the Celtics with the big three against the no-name Clippers, it was 50-50 that they were going to lose that game badly. I used to go to it every year because I can't stand Lakers fans because I don't mind the upper deck ones, but the ones down low in the Staples Center, it's just mouth breathers. Mouth breathing morons, just a bunch of old guys with like 18-year-old chicks. It's horrible. And then you go to Miami, and it's the same thing. It's a bunch of 60-year-old guys dressed all in white linen, like Hannibal Lecter when he's going to eat that guy at the end of the movie, and they're hanging out with like these 21-year-olds. And then you guys get down there, and you're like, wow, what is this? Some wide-eyed kid from Kansas, wherever the fuck you're from. You can't handle it. You can't handle it, and you go down, and what do? You lose money for guys like me. And I came here today for an apology.
I'm sorry, Bill. I'm fucking. Well, can we discuss what's the greatest game of all time to you then? What is your greatest game of all time?
How do you pick the greatest game of all time? This isn't like stand-up where you just go Richard Pryor and you're done.
No.
The greatest game of all time. I don't know. I'm an underdog guy, so I always like underrated stuff. Like one of the greatest fights I ever saw was Michael Dokes versus Evander Holyfield, and they never bring it up. I don't know why. It's an incredible fight. This game they never bring up. Or maybe I'm a contrarian. Maybe that's the way I keep people away, and I don't let them in. Like, how much I'm enjoying whatever the fuck this is between us? It's fantastic.
This thing?
If I had to sit even closer to you in your Suzanne Summers Reeboks, I would really be uncomfortable.
Suzanne Summers?
Those are men's sneakers.
These are men's sneakers.
Those are men's sneakers. That's what you guys are doing. That is the future of this country, that a man can walk around with borderline slippers. I know they have a stripe on the side of them.
But these are the same shoes from like 1970. You were probably
Have you ever
them.
seen the ladies with leg warmers that wore them when I was growing up?
No.
You look like you should be doing this.
This is a nurse.
Okay, everybody. Now,
is this a nurse shoe to you?
Huh?
It's a nurse shoe. Are you calling?
No, it's feminine. You're very progressive. You're wearing bracelets. I like this whole after football you. Did you have to sit on this your whole career and act like you like steaks?
My daughter made this.
Huh?
My daughter made that.
Was that supposed to make me ease up on you?
No, that's just
All
That's
right. Well,
literal the truth.
you know what's the greatest thing about it? I have a 7-year-old daughter. I went in because I don't have a desk or anything because I'm an adult. So I was trying to write out something. So I sat down at her desk. She was at school. The greatest thing about I'm a 7-year-old. There was cookie crumbs on top of the desk. It just fucking made me laugh. Like, this kids are so funny. They think that they're sneaking, and they always like the level of evidence that they leave. Kids and people who whack CEOs. It's just the level of like evidence that they leave around. I love that everybody thought that was a professional hit, and he's sitting there talking to some chick in like Starbucks, DNA, backpack, cell phone, still carrying the gun.
He was professional enough to do the shelling, though. The shell thing.
You know what I loved about him? I loved his belief. You know, that like he had a whole list, and it's like, all right, that's the first guy. Like he was just going to go around like it was some Tom Cruise movie, and like somehow he was like the Bourne Identity. He was going to be like, you know, Tokyo drifting around cities, like killing CEOs, and they weren't going to catch him immediately. I mean, come on. Like if he just shot some shithead in the back, oh my God, what's going on with New York? And they would eventually got to it, but like the level that they went after that guy, the level, you can't have that. Money can't have money unless they make the call. You can't have some rando coming around deciding. He's not at the table.
No.
He's not with the Illuminati.
He could be.
Can I ask you a question? When you bring chicks over, do you take out the guitar?
No,
Do you
that's actually
start playing?
Kyler's.
Oh, I thought that was yours. I really just picture
I'm a
you,
pianist.
"Ooh, dream weaver. It would just picture serenade. It's after football. I need a new angle. I can't hit him with the stats anymore.
No stats. So, Bill, what's day life nowadays for you? What are you doing these days?
Well, I just scratched the rim on my car because I can't park new cars anymore. You sit so low in them. You know
What kind
I mean?
of car?
What kind of car do I have? I have a Jaguar because everybody has a BMW and a Mercedes, and I have kids, and I needed a back seat. But now I found out that the Jaguar has like the same engine as like the Land Rover, Range Rovers.
Yeah, they're English cars.
Yeah, and they're like notorious, like lemon laws. Is this on the internet or is this on real TV?
My
Because then
dad's
I have to lie and be like, Range Rovers are a fantastic investment. No, my mechanic already told me. He goes, no matter what you do with this car, it's junk by the time it's 100,000 miles. And it already like overheated. It's annoying. You know what I mean? So I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
My dad's a mechanic, and the first thing he ever told me is never buy an English car.
Yeah, what is there, you know?
They just don't know.
They're like the worst people on the planet because you take the Germans, like the English, not good with people.
Not good with people,
Right?
but great with engineering.
Machines. Great with machines. England just 0 for 2. 0 for 2, no
for a lot.
brushing, no flossing. They got meat pies or something over there.
What is their food? Chips and or fish and chips?
Other people, I don't know. They just kind of go around the world.
Yeah.
Beans on
I
toast?
do love when I go over and they go, "Whoa, what's wrong with America?" It's like, well, you started it. The fuck you? This was your baby. You know what I mean? And you taught us how to treat people. That's what's going on with it.
We
I
do
don't put it all on them.
a lot of it. I put a lot on the French too.
It's a beautiful room.
Yeah, it's cedar.
This is the age we're at right now.
This is.
I just looked at your wall. It says a beautiful room. You got a little more excited. You go, "This is cedar."
I know.
Oh, is that? So you can have like a wool sweater in here and like
No,
moths
I think it's actually
That
great
is
with
fantastic.
bugs.
It is.
Yeah, cedar wood is like really good with bugs. I think it doesn't allow bugs to live in it.
I think it's more technical than that, but okay.
Something like
There's
that.
something about the wood. This is great. Don't you love when two dumb guys don't know what they're talking about?
100%.
This is great.
This
All
is
right.
what people want to listen
Well,
to.
let's go with it.
Yeah. So
There's something about they don't like the smell of it.
I think there's something to do with the radiant. I don't know, but I just wanted to throw that word out there.
I like radiant, and I totally bought it when you said it.
Yeah.
I was like, he knows what this means.
I have no clue. I'm a dumb football player, Bill. Now,
Well, I'm a stupid comic. I do shit jokes.
yeah, but I don't think, honestly, for me, I think comics are like some of the smartest people I've met.
That's because you haven't hung out with us and you're romanticizing the art.
No, I have hung out with a lot of
You're going to
comics.
tell us we're sad clowns?
No,
They're so happy when
guys-
they're on stage, and then we just walk away, you know?
No, there's
head
definitely
hanging.
always something that has.
I'm glad I was able to make your day more enjoyable. For all the young comedians out there, that's one of the biggest lies ever. That if do you have enough fucking cameras? Jesus
Yeah,
fucking Christ!
Got you one, me
Doing
one,
like the
us
national
one.
news. Oh, okay, this is
That
me.
one.
If don't buy into that bullshit that if you're happy, you're not going to be funny. If you get married and find love, you're not going to be funny. It isn't. It's an amazing thing, and it gives you a whole new way of viewing the world. And if you're funny, you're funny. That's what it is, right? Like if you somehow serenade the right woman, right, with that guitar, and you get married, does that mean you can't catch a football anymore? Does that mean you don't have the desire?
Well, I tell you right now, I literally didn't get in relationships during my career because I felt guys got softer when they had marriage. I saw it firsthand.
You did. So they're saying that as far as your research goes.
As far as my research goes.
I get that because then
I felt that like I saw a couple guys that were, you know, I won't put no names out there, but they got married and it just felt like the main reason wasn't the main reason anymore.
I tried to say something nice, and then you just come at me with facts. I can't argue that. I know, because then they'd be like, you got concussed again, Julian. And you're like, it's just a headache. And they're going, no.
My hip. It's my hip.
It's my hip. Okay, let's jump in.
If Tommy says I can go, that means I can go. When are you going to listen to me? And then Bill calls you. Yeah, the game started like a week ago. Where the fuck are you? Did you see that recent one? Lawrence Taylor drove by Giant Stadium. You saw the lights on, and he was like, "Oh fuck, I have a game."
Yeah,
and showed up in the first quarter.
He showed up late. They benched him for a series, and then he went out, and I think he had like 7 sacks.
All right, I'm gonna tell a story. Okay, I don't feel like I'm talking out of school here because this is a funny story. So I'm doing Inside the NFL. Phil Simms is on the show, and Lawrence Taylor is coming in. So it's Phil, Chris Collinsworth, Lawrence Taylor, and me, right? I mean, one of those classic, like, what in the hell am I doing here, right? So Lawrence hasn't showed up yet. So Phil tells me a story. I go, I can't believe Lawrence Taylor's going to be here. I mean, that guy he's just, like, he literally changed the game. And I was just going on and on about him. He goes, you know what's funny about that guy? He goes, he didn't even know the names of the teams in the leagues. I go, get the fuck out of here. He goes, yeah. He goes, one time, he goes, we won some game. They were on the road, and they're on the team playing. They're all hyped. And Lawrence is psyched, and Phil goes, yeah, hey, man, if the Redskins lose, then we're going to be in first place in our division. And Lawrence goes, oh, yeah? He goes, who's in our division? And Phil goes, you don't know who's in our division? And he goes, man, I don't give a shit, right? And I'm thinking, like, that is the genius
that he
of
was.
him. Let's say, I don't need extra information in my head. You have a different uniform than me. I'm going to ruin your day. So I thought it was a hilarious story. But as always, you think maybe he put a little mustard on it or whatever. 10 minutes later, Lawrence Taylor comes walking in. Him and Phil both just start laughing, which was great. They just saw each other. They started laughing. They hugged and everything. You just know all the shit that they did back then. Who knows, right? So Lawrence sits down and he starts telling stories, right? They just start telling things. And in the middle of one story, he goes, we were down in New Orleans and we were playing and he goes, Phil, what's the name of that team in New Orleans? And he goes, the Saints. He goes, we're playing the Saints. It was unbelievable. And then fat sports writers would say that, they would say that he wasn't smart, he was blah, blah. It's like, that's like some Einstein shit. I'm wearing the same shit every day, so my brain doesn't, I only need to worry about, like, you hear all those stories, how he would sleep through meetings and then get up and diagram the whole play, or they would ask him if it was okay. The guy is like a fucking
savant.
Genius. But the fact that he didn't even know, like the fact that he's almost like a housewife in the level that he doesn't know the names of the teams, yet he's the most alpha dominating player that I ever saw. But you know why he seems like he fell out of the sky is because his favorite player was Hollywood Henderson.
Yeah.
And he was like, Hollywood Henderson was the gap as far as the linebacking position between, like, Dick Butkus in that era and him. He came and it looked like he was an alien. It was because, unfortunately, Hollywood Henderson had, like, substance abuse problems and it affected his career. But one of the greatest another underrated play, 1976, the Steelers are playing the Cowboys, and the Steelers kick off. Guess who receives it? Hollywood Henderson. They had a linebacker receiving their kick in 1976. Like, that just didn't happen. And he took it all the way down the field to, like, their 45, and Roy Jarella, their kicker, just sort of dove like that, and his linebacker knee hit his ribs.
Broke him.
Yeah, and fucked him up for the game. And it's a really hard game to watch if you're a Cowboys fan because they were running reverses. I think that's what it was. It was a reverse on the kickoff, and they were doing all of this shit. And then they got up, and then they just sat on the ball, and the Steelers kept playing, and then they came back and beat them.
Man, how does it feel to be that old to remember a 1976 game that great?
I watched it on YouTube. The first one I watched was 78.
What's the first game you remember watching? Do you know?
Some O.J. Simpson was playing in like the early 70s.
Buffalo.
And my dad screaming at the TV. Or something. My grandfather going, these are the old days. He's like packing a pipe to smoke it inside.
Was he Sherlock Holmes? Fucking
No,
pipe.
old men smoked pipe. And I got to be honest with you, both my grandfathers smoked pipes. And to this day, if I smell pipe smoke, it puts me in like the greatest mood because both my grandfathers were these amazing like guys. Yeah, so that was probably the first one. But I've also like gone back and like I've watched all of this history of the NFL, and I'll tell you, a great guy, and he just passed away unfortunately. And the NFL never gave him his due. Was this guy Marlon Briscoe? He played for the Broncos, black quarterback. They drafted him. He was like second or third string or something like that, and both white quarterbacks go down. This is like the late 60s, and he goes in, and you immediately see the modern-day NFL. It wasn't just standing there throwing like that. He was all over the field. More Randall Cunningham, I would say, than Michael Vick, and he won like 6 of the last 7 games, something crazy. And then, they didn't make the playoffs because they were having a bad season before he got in there. And then the next season, the team just drafted another high-ranked white guy, and they shipped him off to Buffalo, and he finished his career as a wide receiver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like the 60s.
Well, this is what the 60s. It sounded like right through the 90s, I feel.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's what, this is like all of this shit that was so fucked up is I can remember all of that stuff. And I think because I looked at the football cards and I remember all the names. And then I also went back and I was fascinated, like what happened right before I started watching football. And then today's game, like you age out as a player. I also feel you can age out as a fan. And like how certain teams, like they sort of aged out during like free agency because their whole thing was the draft and their scouts. And then when the game became more free agency, they didn't adjust. I would say as a fan, the fan version of that is I didn't get involved in fantasy football.
Yeah.
So now I don't know the player's name. I don't know what's going on. And then like I also feel like they kind of sold their souls, all professional sports, for offense because they had reached maximum density with sports fans, and then offense gets the casual fan.
Sells the tickets. Defense
Yeah, and
wins the
I think that they are envious of the UFC to see them start so much later than them, but then go global. But there's something about soccer, football, whatever, and fighting. It just transcends all borders and all that, which I find like really fascinating. Not fighting, because fighting, it's like I remember Joe Rogan telling this story, saying like, if you're driving down the street and there's 2 people playing, catch or whatever, playing base, you're not going to really watch because, but if you drive down the street and you see a fight, like you got to watch it. And it was sort of like this really,
It's true.
Yeah, easy way of explaining how their thing got as big as it did. And I don't know what it is about soccer, but everybody seems to enjoy it.
Because all you need is a ball, kick it, banana
But you could
leaves.
say that about hoop. I guess you need a basketball.
But basketball is also very global.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So-
Your point about like how football has kind of changed and evolved and sold its soul for offense is a conversation we have behind the scenes on this show a lot because we go watch 85 game. We watch a game from the early 2000s and the game is so different.
Oh, yeah. You don't even want to hear my conspiracy theory. Like my conspiracy theory right now is the NFL's in a bad place because they only have one great quarterback. True, as far as like there's always been Brady Manning,
what about
Elway, Marino,
So
Montana,
who's your one great
Staubach.
quarterback?
So
Mahomes.
Mahomes is the guy that sells the tickets. I'm not saying there's not like great talent at that position, but nobody has put up sort of like, he doesn't have his, Hatfield and McCoy guy.
No.
So it's sort of their own, the only storyline they have right now is can he three-peat? So that's why, like, the ridiculous, that guy took his helmet off in the fucking end zone. The ref says, put it back on. I mean, it's just like, he's like, you realize this is televised, right? Like, what are we doing here? So,
That's a penalty. It's supposed to be a penalty. Take your helmet off. It's 15.
Yeah.
Supposed to. Now, it's very fascinating to me that your sport shit. Like, this shit.
I know eras.
Where did
I know an era.
Where does this sports fandom come from? Like, is your grandpa smoking the pipe watching the Patriots, or where did this all come from?
Well, my grandfather, he was super old. He was born in like 1892.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, he had my dad was a product of a second marriage. So like he had kids what was really late in life, which is like he was like almost 40, So he was like he liked horses.
Old dad.
Horses, boxing, and baseball. So if you look at the turn of the last century, horse racing and boxing were the two biggest sports.
Big.
And then baseball came on. So he was living through that. And as far as having a cool car back then was like being able to handle a horse, having probably a stable full of horses. I don't know. That was like some man shit. So he was into that. And then he saw, Babe Ruth and all of that whole baseball thing come on. And like all of a sudden being able to listen to it on the radio and all of that. So he was kind of into the radio. And, he was like a classic older guy. Both of them, they were quiet. You know what I mean? And just, smoked a pipe, would have, a little two fingers or whatever their drink was. Everybody had like their drink and you smoked and you looked like you were 50 when you were 30. It was just like, that's just the way it was back then. But I remember I related to them. And I didn't know why, but now that I am an old man.
You're not that old, but
I'm 56, dude. I'm fucking old, right?
You look good.
Yeah. I was saying the other day, 56 times 2 is dead. All right, so like...
It is. It is.
You can go to whatever personal trainer and they do your blood, be like, you're 56, but your fucking ankle is 38 with that dumb shit that they say to get you to keep coming back. It's like, no, it's 50. Everything on me is 56 years old. I might look better than the average 56-year-old, but, my heart has been beaten for, over half a century. So that is what it is. So.
Must be the avocados. Bill came here immediately, had to scarf down an avocado because he's on that Hollywood diet now.
Yeah, I am out of
Boston
shape
guy.
right now in
Boston guy
Hollywood
eating,
terms.
That's the least Boston thing you've ever done in front of me.
That's the first fucking thing I've ever done in front of you.
No,
I mean, I've
it's
met
not.
you once at the Comedy Store and then there.
A couple other times, but yeah, I remember.
All right, what's the most Boston thing I ever did? Make fun of your fucking stupid sneakers?
That's a Boston thing. Even though they look like they're from fucking Southie, but
you know what? You can pull them off.
Thank you.
And that might be a compliment. That might be an insult. And doggone it, you should wear the sneakers that make you feel the prettiest.
Are they that ugly?
No, they're just really feminine.
Because they're white?
I just think I don't know what it is. There's just something about the soul. It's like that is not an active person.
That's gum.
That is the soul that lets somebody else drive.
So,
Julian, well, you doing all right? I don't know. Like, that's what those sneakers say to me. Do you want to go out to dinner? Yeah, but I don't know what I want. That's a whole other side of you. I don't want to see. I want to keep the myth.
What's the myth?
I don't know. You spoke improper English earlier, and it really made me happy.
Well, I can't speak.
It said, you got dip in your mother. This is what I need. I need, as someone who failed horrifically in athletics, I need to see the flaws.
You're seeing them, buddy. You're fucking seeing them.
I'm not. I'm kidding. You look like you can still play.
No. So grandpa, pops, old-ass dad, old guy, 1800 grandpa. That's fucking
1892,
gnarly.
yeah.
That is gnarly.
He saw it all.
Sports fandom
He
came
almost owned a slave. I mean, this guy was way back there.
He probably did. I don't know if we'll probably have to cut that out due to the
Why?
time.
Why is U.S. history? Why do we have to act like? You know what always fascinated me? I never got this sketch on Chappelle's show, but I wrote this sketch for Dave. It's one of my favorite people in this business. There was this weird thing, because I'm always watching this old footage on sports. They would tell the history of baseball separately. They would talk about in the 1950s. Oh boy, it was the golden age of baseball, and Willie, Mickey, and the Duke, and I used to go to center field, and whoopie doopie, there was Duke Schneider, right? Or whatever. And then they had the other side, Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, and it was super ugly, and people throwing black cats on the field and saying all of this shit. But they told those two stories separately. You know what I mean? For some weird reason. So I wrote this sketch where Dave was watching like one of those Billy Crystal going to a Yankee game things and just fantasized, oh boy, I wish I played during the golden age of baseball. And then he went back, and of course, like it was like, and here we are, 1954, the golden age. And then, you come up to the place, get off the field, you black bastard. And there's the Mick. Oh, Mickey Mantle. And this the duality of it struck me as funny. Never got it on, though. He would have killed that. He killed everything.
Now, Billy Crystal, big Yankees guy. You ever meet him?
I love Billy Crystal. And one
City
of the things,
Slickers. I love that movie.
and I also underrated movie was Mr. Saturday Night.
I didn't see it.
I love that movie, and that movie very subtly is sort of a blueprint for a stand-up comedy career of some of the pitfalls that you can fall in. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's just like kind of getting carried away with your ego, dying on a hill, like the thing when he finally gets his show, and in his head he's like, "Don't say it, don't say it." I was, "What's with your fucking hair?" Whatever he said, and then he gets fired. The self-sabotage, I haven't seen it in a while, but like having you got the girl, and then you're looking at other women, you've just fucked the whole thing up. It was really I love that movie. I love that movie. So, and then also, I used to watch him with Robin and Whoopi on the Comic Relief. I saw him all the way back on Soap, which you don't even remember, which was the late 70s. So I basically
wasn't live.
And then watched him hosting the Oscars. And
I remember those.
Yeah, and it was a cool thing as a wannabe comedian and then becoming a comedian, because they never gave comedies Oscars. There was sort of like this subtle thing like, okay, so you actors are so goddamn great. How come you can't host your show? You need a comedian. And how many times he did it, the great job that he did with it. So I was a huge fan. And then he did a show with Josh Gad that only went a season. And it's still like a phantom limb. I wanted to see how it played out. And it was like they were playing, he was playing this older entertainer, and he was this younger entertainer. For whatever reasons, their careers where they were at, they needed each other. And I mean, maybe it was too inside baseball, but it was absolutely brilliant. And they were so great. And it was, there's a few of those TV series that I watched. There was one on Showtime, The Brotherhood, and that thing was sort of loosely based on the Bulgers. And that one went away.
Now, you look at Billy Crystal and...
Sorry, I went off on a tangent.
I know you
really needed to regroup there.
No, I did. But I was thinking,
you had to wiggle your ladies' Reebok.
I completely didn't understand anything you just said, but...
Yes, you did.
Not really.
Stop playing dumb.
No.
You're not a dumb guy.
I'm pretty dumb.
Listen, being able to figure out where to sit down in a zone with 22 people fucking running around.
That's different.
What happened to you as a child that you can't take a compliment? That you
My
have
dad
to
never
sort of
gave me
hide
one.
behind this pillow?
My dad never gave me one.
Oh, you had one of those.
Oh, definitely.
Did you have to walk behind the station wagon with your cleats over your shoulder crying?
Suburban, but yeah. We had the old 91 Bourbon. Everyone knew my dad.
catches. Yeah, you think you're something. Why don't you have 9?
Literally used to get grounded if I
You
didn't
get
go.
out of my fucking car, you piece of shit.
Dude, I had a crazy life like that where I would get grounded if I didn't go 4 for 4 in baseball, basketball, turnovers. My dad heard a story that, remember White Chocolate, Jason Williams, his dad tied his right hand to behind his back and made him dribble with his left up and down the street. My dad used to make me do that. Like, my dad was psycho.
You know what's funny when I think about where were the moms during those eras?
My mom was smoking cigarettes, watching just we're kind of trailer trash, Bill.
Yeah, mine was inside.
Like, I know you're from Boston and I'm from California, even though you said I was from Kansas. But
You just sound like you're from Kansas, and you're doing dip. You picked up a lot of bad habits. The intellect, the dip.
definitely.
What's up, Kansas? I'll be there in a week. No, kidding. Actually, bucket list. I want to go to Jayhawks basketball game. I somehow became a fan of this. Yeah, a long time ago. At the was it the Field House? Whatever it is?
Allen Fieldhouse.
Why do you love sports? I still don't understand it. You know so much about this shit.
Well, what else am I going to do? Watch CNN and Fox News and watch those guys lie and then go do blow and fuck the same hookers after their show's done? Why would I sit there and watch that? So then I try to watch sports, and I'm trying to get away from all of this shit that I'm seeing. And now what are they every baseball? Stand up for cancer. And everybody's crying about somebody who died from cancer. And no one's saying, well, they turned our food supply into poison. They don't bring that part up. You just hold a sign that says Larry, and you start crying. And I'm trying to watch a fucking baseball game. If you're not going to do anything about the food supply, I don't want to see the people that you killed during a fucking game.
So what's your Boston hierarchy of sports?
Boston hierarchy. Well, pick. I'll give you my top five.
Top five.
And okay, you got to go Bill Russell. As far as the Celtics hierarchy, Bill Russell, that's the foundation.
Probably Larry Bird in there.
Listen, are you going to let me answer it?
I don't know.
You're just going to do it.
I'm just going to...
Probably Larry Bird. You probably lived in Southie and you stole cars and you were good at math and you said, how do you like them apples? Huh? Listen,
Good movie.
I already was judging you because you were from Kansas, but the fact that you're from California...
NorCal.
You know what's funny about Republicans is they love TV people. They will fucking...
Where the fuck did that come from?
Because I was just thinking, like, the other day, it's like they keep electing the host of a reality show TV star, right? They like the host of The Apprentice. They like Schwarzenegger movies.
Reagan.
No, and then watching, like, Trump. I don't know what he's doing. He's, like, talking about national security with Dr. Phil. Yeah, have you seen his ratings?
Now, how did the fuck...
It's like, Trump, this is a little more fucking important. And then he replaced a warmonger with dementia. The joke I've been doing in my act is the last three presidential elections, we're picking presidents the way the Browns pick quarterbacks. We're in this vortex. We got to get out of it. And then fortunately, somebody comes along and whacks a CEO and gives us a chance to breathe a little.
So who's the
And
Baker
be like,
Mayfield?
what are we doing? Huh?
Who's the Baker Mayfield of presidents in that?
I love fucking Baker Mayfield.
I do too. That's what I'm saying.
And you know what? I love that.
In the revolving door
I love
of
that
quarterbacks.
Colin Cowherd has to stay up at night knowing he was wrong and can't get himself to admit it. And his desk is just going to keep getting bigger. I still have to go to a physical therapist looking up at him during those interviews I did on his show. Oh, my God. Look at that. Would you look at that? Ty Detmer. I can't even...
Oh, my God.
Corey, they even drafted Corey
That's my boy,
Holcomb.
Charlie Fry.
Isn't Wynn from the Brady draft?
Yeah, Spurgeon win.
Brady Quinn, Jake DeLone. Well, not DeLone from the Panthers.
Yeah.
They got rid of him. He was a fucking baller.
I remember that.
He almost beat us. Was not afraid of the Super Bowl even remote. Colt McCoy. Dude, they should get all of these guys together and sit around the biggest round table you could ever have, like a 47-person round table. And it's just called I Was Drafted #1 by the Browns.
And you host it.
And you talk about all the success you had at all levels leading up to that, and then you went to the Browns, and nobody blocked. And now, for the rest of your life, you're going to a Dick's Sporting Goods, and some man-titted fat fuck gets to say you sucked. Like, that's what you're signing up for.
Bake won a playoff game for them.
Okay, so what is my fascination with sport? It was an oasis.
We were in the hierarchy of Boston, but...
Oh, okay, all right. Bill Russell.
Bird.
Wait a second. Stop throwing fucking Bird in there. Everybody's
Brady.
going to say Bird. There's other... Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, fucking Mark Wahlberg,
I'm a Bill Burr guy. Sorry.
Joey Mack. All right, Bird. Will that get you to stop? Will that get you to stop? All right.
Russell.
You notice my posture. I'm going to be like laying flat by the end of this, crying about
The
my
Ernie
childhood.
Adams. So Ernie came in here and talked for 3 hours, and by the end, he was like this, sleeping.
All right. Well, there's two different lists. There's the people that I liked and then the best ever, okay? And some of them are on the same list. So, like, the best ever, you got to go Bird.
Bobby Orr.
I mean, Bill Russell, Bird. I'm going, like, Celtics right now. And that's it. I'm kidding. I'm too old to remember anybody past the fucking 90s. Then you got Bobby Orr, who even Wayne Gretzky, they said that's the greatest of all time. Cam Neely. Cam Neely, you want 50 goals and I beat the fuck out of your team? You know, that guy. And he owned the Canadians. When we couldn't beat the Canadians and we were all, oh my God, we're going to the Forum, we're going to lose. He would get a hat trick on Patrick Waugh, who changed the game.
Before we move on, Cam Neely, do you have a take on Ulf Samuelsson?
Do I have a take on him?
Yeah.
My only take on that guy is that whenever I hear Pittsburgh fans whining about what they did to Sidney Crosby in his career, it's like, you have Ulf Samuelsson in your ring of honor.
Thank you.
So, I mean, live by the sword, die by this. They also had Matt Cook. I mean, they like guys like that unless they're coming at them. So, you know, I don't know. Whatever Ulf did, he had like a long career. But I mean, I don't think like going at somebody's knees. I don't think that, okay, so then what did that do for hockey? That took Cam Neely away, and then you're left with Ulf Samuelsson. So, like, I don't mind guys that played physical and that type of thing. There's guys that were on the line, like Claude Lemieux, all right? That guy did a lot of dirty shit, but he could play the game. So it's, I don't know. You know what? Fuck you for bringing his name up. All the fucking championships
He's
and
from
shit.
Western Mass, and he's a fucking Pittsburgh fan. It's fucking
Just
stupid.
Penguins. Just Penguins.
Yeah, but Western Massachusetts, that's not even America. Forget about Massachusetts. That's just like people who can't find the Appalachian Trail. Look at his beard. Do you think he has running water in his house?
No.
I don't either.
No.
And then as far as Patriots, John Hanna, Andre Tippett. You got to go Steve Grogan, one of the greatest, toughest fucking guys.
Grogan?
Dude, Grogan played the last 5 years of his career wearing a neck brace. He looked like he just got into a car accident. And he played on AstroTurf, and he would hold that fucking ball until the camera would always go at the ball. And you would just see him fly out of frame as the ball went like that way. And he would just get up. The guy just would get up.
Tough.
Yeah, he was. Oh, my God, that naked bootleg on Monday Night Football, 50-yarders.
Didn't see it.
Fucking white guy giving us all hope. We can run. I could make it. Stanley Morgan. There it is. He wore that. First of all, he had the same genetics as Peyton Manning, where they just had extra neck. You know what I mean? Like, usually the helmet fits the thing. I don't know what, I don't think Peyton's that bright a guy, so he's always cheating on people, the papers. I think that's why it happened. I'm just fucking with. I love Peyton, but the fucking guy, I did his show, and all he did was he was like, remember when Eli did this? It's like, yeah, I do. I don't remember when you did it.
Yeah.
He always does that. Oh my God, the cheating ass Colts. The fucking cheating ass Colts. Brilliant.
Dude, you know what? I didn't realize how much I hated the Colts until I started doing a podcast with Gronk and seeing how much he hated the Colts.
Dude, they are the biggest whining bitches that ever fucking. It's
AFC Championship banner?
Finalist.
Runner-up? That's what they have. They have an AFC runner-up.
Dude, how about the fact their owner sat on the competition committee and made the way we were covering their receivers illegal, and then they stole our offense and won a fucking Super Bowl, and they didn't say anything. Which I don't give a fuck. It's a dirty game, but don't go around weighing a football. I mean, what the fuck?
Same amount of their footballs
were underinflated.
Underinflated.
And he hired this guy who said he was a scientist who wasn't. How about the fact that
Bill Nye? I still fucking can't stand him right now.
How about the fact that the owner of a losing team was allowed to conduct an independent investigation that was upheld by the NFL? Roger Goodell, that appetizer-eating fucking Fred Flintstone-looking fat.
Raj.
Okay, I get it. You got to protect your connections. I'm not a fan.
I like Raj.
The first thing Roger Goodell needs to do is buy a suit that fucking fits. All right? He always looks like he just ate a bunch of potato skids and that big, dumb Fred Flintstone head. He should have gone like, you're not conducting an independent investigation. I do that. You're not going to be. Who the fuck are you? And he went like, oh, yeah, this looks pretty good. Like, what the fuck? What was that?
Quick question. Why do all comedians drink the liquid death?
I initially got into this shit because it's rather than being a plastic bottle, and
you're so green friendly.
You just felt that. You ask questions and then you fucking interrupt. I never even got through my list.
I got random. I'm random. Okay. I got ADD, dog.
So random.
So random.
Okay, so hierarchy.
He's wearing women's shoes and now he's explaining away his behavior with diagnosis. Are you self-diagnosed as ADD or?
Don't know.
Can I tell you something? You don't have ADD.
Well,
you have childhood trauma.
No, well,
that if you actually sat still and you sat and thought about what a dick your dad was, that's me. My dad was a fucking loon. I don't know what happened to him with old pipe smoker. By the time I met him, he was fucking 90. I don't know what he did when he still his last couple of years in the league when he was 40. I don't know what he did to my dad, but we all paid for it. So like I literally cannot fucking sit still in my own house. I have to be doing. I'm playing a guitar. I'm over here. I'm fucking making an egg. I'm just like I'm all over the place.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
but I got told a new bit in fifth or like third grade, the principal brought my parents into the office and said, "Yeah, we recommend your son needs Ritalin." My dad almost fought him.
That's a good dad.
He goes, "You ain't putting my kid on medicine."
Yeah, no. Frank.
Oh, Frank.
You know what came up with Ritalin? Teachers who couldn't control a classroom. So they just started drugging class clowns. And that's the story that they don't want you to know.
So, Russell, Bird.
You can fact check that on the internet where you can lie your ass off on your website.
Grogan.
John
Hanna. No
Mike
Brady.
Haynes.
No Brady.
Mike Haynes.
Haynes.
Well, I'm still in Pat Patriot years.
I mean, how many fucking people are on the hierarchy? Usually, I'm Mount Rushmore.
I'm sorry, did I get to you yet?
No, I didn't want to be on there.
I'm going to give, at the end of this podcast, I'm going to give you the hug your dad never gave you.
I see him looking at me right now and really thinking about like, yeah, this he needs a hug.
No.
He needs a hug.
Or maybe I'm just projecting. Maybe I'm hoping that I could get a hug from the hands that caught that ball right off the turf. Maybe you could hold me, gently rock me before I go to my next dancing monkey gig that I have to do.
You do a lot of these dancing monkey gigs.
I do, and this is probably the bottom of the list.
Clearly not, because 3 weeks ago, Bill Burr actually showed up to the fucking house. I have him on my goddamn.
I clicked on the wrong address, and I fucking came to the house, and they were like, "You're not here for like another 3 weeks." And I was like, "What the fuck?" I mean, that is my day. Every fucking day, like I just wake up, and I got to start moving forward to get the demons behind me. It's like I call it the smoke. I got to stay ahead of the smoke. So I clicked on the wrong day, and I ended up out here.
How far away was where you're supposed to be?
Other side of the, over there. It just, it was what it was. And then I got there, and it didn't matter. You know what I mean? I was like all stressed out. They're like, "Nah, it's fine. It's fine." It's like, so what are these times just arbitrary? Like, 10 o'clock, whenever you want to get here. Like, I don't like being late.
You weren't. You were 10 minutes early here.
Yeah. Well, I had to eat my avocado.
You had to eat the avocado. Okay, so we have the hierarchy of athlete. What's the hierarchy?
I know, we never even got through it.
Keep going.
All right, so then I get to you guys. All right, Ben Coates. I love it tight. Coates, Russ Francis. I forgot Russ Francis.
Was fucking good.
Steve Nelson. Bill Lankitis. Leon Gray. Raymond Claiborne. Tim Fox. Ohio State. Oh, my God, that guy used to fucking hit people. Sam Cunningham. Come on. Stanley Morgan, I said him.
Yeah,
right?
you said
All right,
Stanley.
Okay, now we're in Drew Bledsoe, Ben Coates, Curtis Martin.
Bledsoe. You loved Bledsoe. Everyone loved Bledsoe.
Yep, Teddy Dude, he made us legit. Teddy Bruschi, Willie McGinnis.
Willie Mack. Love Willie Mack.
Yeah, I mean, all of the fucking guys. All of the fucking guys. And
now,
then,
what about your sports? How
Brady.
How does your fandom in sports go? Does it?
And then I can only pick one white wide receiver, so I'll go with Wes Welker.
Standard. I mean, we all
No.
can't be
Or Danny
winners.
Amendola.
We all
No,
can't be
you,
winners.
yeah. Julian Edelman, you're on the list, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
I didn't forget about you.
Can't.
I don't care how much you ever fail me. I'll never make you get out of the car.
Did have to walk home from a practice once because of that.
There you go. And you know what's funny? You know what's funny about being brought up like that is then your idea of what being good and normal is just, a little east of how you grew up, and you don't realize you're until you meet somebody, hopefully, that grew up in a good family. Like I remember one of my brothers, right, got into it with a girlfriend, and he was going off on her, and she goes, "Stop yelling at me," and he goes, "I'm not yelling. This is yelling." That's what he did. And she had never heard that.
I hear that all the time that I yell. I don't think I agree with that. I'm not yelling. I just speak loud.
My problem is when someone is taking advantage of me, I have an inability to express my feelings without using the F word. Like, God help me if when you die, God's going to judge you, and he starts bringing up my stuff. I mean, what the, come here, you got to give me a fucking break. I immediately would start talking like that. Backed into a corner, I go F word. Some people start swinging. I don't. I go F word.
F-bombs.
F-bombs. Like, I sit there and in my, when I, because I know I'm crazy, like if I have to have a confrontation with somebody, I am outside in my backyard walking around whispering what I want to say, and then I get all wound up, and then I'm whispering, okay, it's just something I want to talk to you about. I'm not saying you're a bad guy, but and then 5 minutes later, dude, what the fuck? You can't fucking say that you didn't fucking know that you were fucking, okay, bring it back down, okay? And and I'll do that for 40 minutes, and I don't.
How many people are in your head? Is there a couple?
Wow, that's a great question. Are you gonna let me finish this list? Or are you gonna fucking?
I don't know.
Okay, there's what did I used to say? I don't fucking care. I don't give a fuck. There's that kid. There's the belief guy.
Gotta
He's
believe.
way back in the head.
Gotta believe.
Way back in the head, and he kind of does that. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. There's that guy. And that's all from when shit was happening to me. It was the only way you could deal with it. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. There's low self-esteem guy. There's delusional guy. There's a lot in there. It's definitely a full-size car.
Yeah. I can see it.
maybe an SUV. There's a lot of people in there, but the one that is the belief guy was the one that I would always go to because I had to, because I had not, because other than that it was bleak. Well, Jesus, that was sad.
Very sad. No.
You could not have been more emotionless. That was sad. Very sad.
Very sad.
All right, I felt like we were right at the end of the therapy session. All right, I need to make more money, so you get the fuck out of here. Try not to make eye contact with the person in the waiting room. Is there ever anything worse than the overlap? When you go long and then you see the next person, and then they see you like, oh yeah, you're fucked up too, huh? You know what's funny about your lack of emotion? It pairs well with your eyes.
Are you looking deep into my eyes
There's
right now?
something about you have husky eyes. That's the one dog you don't know what the fuck it's thinking because the eyes are like mirrors. Is it gonna pull the sled or is it gonna use me as a food source? That's how I feel.
I like that
Just when
you're looking deep into my eyes. I like that.
listen, you can try to make this as gay as you want while you wear those things. I don't give a shit. I'm just letting you know. I have no idea what you're thinking.
On a scale of 1 to gay, what is it?
What is what? Where are we going? Your eyes, your sneakers,
Can we get back to the
your soccer mom
What is
sweatpants?
Can
Are
we
you transitioning?
We're transitioning. We got to transition. 50 in the books. We got to get in.
Flawless.
Bill,
Are they starting some women's football league you want to dominate?
fastest
I
growing
just had to
women's
keep-
sports. Fastest
Jules, why did you cut your dick off?
Fastest growing women's sport.
I couldn't shut it
Flag
off, man.
football.
Women's flag football in the
Flag
Olympics.
football. Fastest growing sport for women right now.
Yeah, I am a fan of women's sports, and you know what? Women need to be fans too. And stop bitching at us because we're not watching it. You need to go out and support women, okay? Stop fucking just putting your hands up at a Beyonce concert and thinking that's all you have to do with your life. You have a lot more supporting to do.
Amen.
So,
Dude, I'm fucking killing on this part. I hope you appreciate this. I'm
1,000%.
fucking.
Well,
I just got so much material sitting next to you. I like your old man walking in the mall socks.
got to. I bought those off Amazon. Those are Dickie socks.
There's two times in your life your doctor tells you to go for a walk. The first time you become a fat fuck and he tells you to take up golf. Then all these fat fucks go there. And what's the first thing they do? They get a cart, right? And then they just drive around in the ninth hole. They load up on calories. And if you don't drop of a heart attack, fall out of the cart at some point, and you live longer, then they tell you to walk in these abandoned malls. And then from your calves down, you have the exact fucking footwear. The only thing you need is the Velcro straps.
Velcro? I love
and
Velcro.
then one of them, like, it has to be bigger than the other. Like one of your legs is retaining fluid.
Get those compression socks.
Thoughts on the current state of the Patriots right now, Bill? Can I call you Bill? Or is it Will?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
All right.
Why would you call me Will? At what point did you?
I don't know. I call Bill Belichick Will.
Oh, you do?
No.
No?
No.
Did you ever get inside that head?
Never.
Never.
He doesn't let anyone in there.
Yeah, well, he's the modern day Paul Brown. You ever read on what Paul Brown did?
Yeah, he started the Browns, and then he went down to Cincinnati.
In other words, you didn't.
No.
If he could read, he would, though.
If I could read.
Paul Brown was in the league. It was called like the AAFL, some fucking thing like that. They went 3 years. The Cleveland Browns with Otto Graham, the first Tom Brady, right? Fucking wins. They win the championship all 3 years. Then he goes into the NFL in 1950, and the NFL was laughing at them, saying they're not going to do shit. And he ends up going to the championship game like 4 years in a row and wins either 2 or 3 of them. Then Bobby Lane came with the Lions. So one of the things that they did with him is they tried to figure out how is this guy winning so many games? And what it was he was the first guy that took the kicking aspect of the game seriously. And he had a field goal kicker. What the fuck was it? It was an offensive lineman, of course, and he was kicking straight on. Yeah, what was his name? Yeah, and this guy was lights out. Lou the Toe Groza. There you go. So, and they were winning all of these games by 3 points and 2 points and everything. So he was the guy. Like it was him realizing that was important and that could be a competitive advantage. That, oh my God, how did I leave off Adam Vinatieri?
Oh,
Is he in the Hall of Fame yet?
Maybe
this year.
Fucking
He's a
ridiculous.
finalist.
Okay,
He'll
that
be
guy
soon.
is first ballot, no question Hall of Famer. Adam Vinatieri. Apologies. He probably shut this podcast off.
Nah.
Walking around, they're never gonna acknowledge us kickers. Is that how kickers sound?
I was a Gostkowski guy.
Who's that? Oh, is that the guy who was kind of fat?
That was our kicker for my whole career.
Staniskowski.
No, Gostkowski. Steve Gostkowski.
Oh, I thought you said Guzikowski.
No. Different
No,
Polish.
I listen. You get to a certain age, you can't remember kickers' names. I'm at that age.
I get it. I can't remember a lot of things.
You know who I liked with the Dolphins? Remember Reggie Roby
No.
for the Dolphins? Oh my God!
Who was the guy that had the block foot? My dad always talked about him.
Dempsey.
Yeah.
Tom Dempsey.
Remember he had the
Tom
block
Dempsey,
foot?
yeah. Yep, and beat the Lions. That's why the Lions, they got to win a Super Bowl, man. I mean, it's just like they've been losing for almost 70 years.
Since 40s.
70 years.
Since the 40s.
And they've lost to everybody.
Man, it's always tough when football is over. And that Monday after the big game, brutal. But Coors Light is stepping up to make it a little better. They've created a literal case of the Mondays with their limited time Mondays Light packaging. It's the best way to take the edge off one of the roughest Mondays of the year. I've got to say, Coors Light has been my go-to for years. One of my favorite moments, my buddies and I were having a Sunday barbecue when the grill ran out of propane. Classic. Instead of stressing, we switched it up. Ordered pizza, Cracking open a cold Coors Light made the whole thing way more fun. And those blue mountains on the can, that's how you know it's as cold as the Rockies. Now they're bringing that same mountain cold refreshment to brighten up your Monday. Monday's Light 12-packs are available for purchase nationwide. So now you can grab one and make that first day of the week just a little more chill. This year, choose chill on one of the worst Mondays of the year. Learn more about Monday's Light at CoorsLight.com/Mondays. That's CoorsLight.com/Mondays. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Beer.
No eye contact.
No, I have to think. I can't make eye contact.
Oh, when you think?
Yeah, when I think.
Well, let's work
You're
on that.
You're intimidating.
No, let's work on that. Let's work on that.
You have some nice blue eyes, too.
Stare into my eyes and explain the 4-minute offense. You should have called my bluff because I wouldn't be able to handle that. Because when he looks at you long enough, you can smell the mint of his fucking chew. Huh? His hairy Gant Skull Bandit.
Copenhagen.
There you go. Do you know how bad I want to try that, but I know I shouldn't?
You shouldn't. You can throw up right away.
What are you talking about?
You couldn't handle it.
I like that. Reverse psychology.
No, I'm telling you.
Dude, you know what you guys should do?
You can't handle it.
And just at the end of this podcast, smash cut to me puking in his backyard, and then just gone, told you, dude, I told you.
So, can we...
Hold on. Did you... Paul Brown? We were talking about Paul Brown?
No, we got past that.
We got past Paul Brown?
We did get past
okay, I just wanted to check.
Paul
That's
Brown.
just where you stopped listening.
Started the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes, okay.
And the Browns.
Okay. And what
Still
came out
owns
of that? And what came out of that?
What?
The West Coast offense.
Yeah, with Bill Walsh. It's the Midwest offense.
Yeah. And because they had that quarterback who had that unbelievable arm, and then he got hurt. Because I think it was a rotator cuff, and they didn't know how to deal with that back then. So then they had to do the short, quick passes.
That, yeah. Yeah. They replaced the run with short pass.
Yeah, because the quarterback blew out his arm.
That was it?
That's what it was. The guy had Bill Walsh, to his dying day, said whoever the fuck that guy was the greatest talent he ever saw at quarterback.
Yeah.
And that might, I don't know if that was a dig with him in Montana, I don't know what, but that's what he said. And then he was next in line when Paul Brown stepped down. But Paul Brown, I don't know, for whatever reason, thought that Bill Walsh had some mental issues. And not only did he pass over him, he sort of motherfucked him around the league.
Yeah.
So then he went to San Diego, became like a receivers or quarterbacks coach, then went to Stanford, rebuilt his career, and ironically enough, 81 plays the Bengals in the Super Bowl. And they
twice.
And they said, do you feel, is this anything extra special because it's the Bengals? And he said no. And the first play they called was some classic razzle-dazzle Paul Brown shit from the 1950s. That was his fuck you to him. Wow. And then he won it. How fucking, I just think that's one of my favorite ones as far as, you know, people not believing in you and then coming back and rubbing their nose in it.
Yeah. I crazy. No, because I just thought about when I was a kid.
I want you guys to do a compilation of his underwhelmed responses.
Yeah, no. Well,
cool.
I thought about it.
Have you had an astronaut on here yet talking about walking on the moon?
We
That's
actually
dope.
had a rocket scientist, Maddie Patricia. No, I was thinking about Bill Walsh. I actually, when I was a kid, because I grew up in the Bay Area, I was rehabbing my back. I broke my back in high school from overuse, stress fracture. And I was rehabbing.
And your dad. Okay, go ahead.
Well, that's 300 cuts a night. When you're taking 300 batting practice swings a night and you wear out.
Jesus. Did you ever read Andre Agassi's book?
No.
Open? Dude, forget about a sports book.
read.
You can read.
Not really.
Sit in the backyard, get yourself some dip, right? You can listen to it.
That's what I do.
You know what they have now for adults? They have
Audiobooks.
people that read you a story.
It is. Audiobooks.
Once upon a time, my name was Andre Agassi. The amazing thing about that guy is he didn't even want to play tennis. His dad decided he was going to be a tennis player. And not only does he become a professional tennis player, he becomes one of the greats of all time and one of a handful of people to win on all three surfaces.
Yeah.
Clay, the grass, and the parking lot, right? And it's one of the most incredible books I read because it's like, Open championships. And then also he's like totally just saying that you just don't feel like there's one lie in the book. It's amazing. That and Steve Gorman's book about being the drummer in the Black Crowes. You get like 3 pages into that book, you're like, this band's not getting back together.
No. Yeah, I gotta check that out. I've watched some shit on Andre Agassi. He had that. He was all on like drugs and shit too, right? Wasn't he like he got it into like crack?
I don't know. Remember that part of the book?
I'm pretty sure.
I just remember as a bald guy when he started.
But he had great hair at the start,
No.
and then he went bald.
He went bald early.
Yeah, but
You
he
know-
had long hair.
Yeah, but he was like super hairy.
Yeah,
He was like super hairy. So the super hairy guys always.
that's why you like him, bald
Yeah.
guy, bald guy.
No, so he was saying he had a piece. He was wearing a piece, and he was playing in this big match, and he was sweating so much, he was worried it was gonna come off, and it fucked him up. Like, he just talks about everything.
Mentally.
He was on TV wearing a fucking toupee with the most epic mullet anybody had ever seen, and all these chicks loved him, and so much of his brand at that point was because he I think
Nike.
well early on in his career he was like the sex symbol, all the ones that the chicks liked, but he hadn't won anything big yet. So that was all the man tit guys were giving him shit about that. So if that thing came, oh my God, I mean he never would have like that. First of all, that would have been all the sponsorship
Gone.
I mean, I wonder if you can recover from that.
Yeah, you can. I think that just because you're bald, you're probably insecure about
Dude,
the
okay,
baldness.
no. Once you shave your head, you don't give a fuck. You know what's great about this haircut? I'm always ready to go.
Always.
Always. All I got to do is throw a shirt on. People think I took a shower. I haven't showered in weeks.
Do you shine it?
Huh?
How come it's so shiny? Do you put a
Because
lotion
it's
on there?
super white because I have superior genes.
But it is like, how often do you shave it?
When I said that, I go, this is going to go one of two ways. They're either going to laugh at that joke or get really silent, like, oh, Jesus, Bill, you really are from Massachusetts. Because L.A. is so open-minded. I love how they have like this vibe, like they're fucking open-minded. And every time the Lakers win a championship, within 2 minutes, a police car is overturned and on fire. What is that an expression of?
Open-minded.
How happy non-white people are in this city? All right. Cool. Go ahead.
Awesome. Belichick at UNC. What are our thoughts on that?
I mean, I like that he's back coaching, but I'm sort of more fascinated with this move that college football is doing. Like, how much is the NFL freaking out about a football March Madness at the end of their NFL schedule? I mean, who the fuck is excited about week 17, 18 when I can watch the first time ever? What is it? 8 teams are going to go at it's going to be insane. And now I can watch guilt-free because they're getting paid.
Yeah.
I don't have to sit there and think, oh, there's some booster making all of this money. He's got a yacht, and some blow and all of this. And like that Willis McGahee hits, one of the hardest plays I've ever seen to watch as far as first grotesque and then also like the kid made no money. How about his agent, huh? On the phone with him. Good for him. Good for him. So I'm more fascinated with that. And then, okay, so now you got this guy that was, 40 years in the NFL? And now he's
75?
coming down there. And I think, am I crazy? I think a lot of college coaches haven't had to deal with players getting paid. Some of them coached the NFL, went up to NFL, came back down or whatever. But I think he's sort of built more for this. And
At
then,
this time.
But then I'm wondering if he's going to do that second-round draft pick thing that he did, or if he's going to take the blue chip guy,
It's going to be interesting because I've thought about this. You look at free agency in the NFL, that's now transfer portal. You look at the draft, that's high school. But the draft, you have to draft guys in recruiting a guy in high school, you get full reign. So him being able to scout guys for his scheme at an endless supply, when it's really coming down to money now, and it's just about how you're going to handle your roster of money, I think he's going to do pretty good. It's pro football now.
I'm gonna
it's
go out on
literally
a-
pro football now.
Right. I'm going to go on a limb and say UNC has never won a college football championship. They've always been a basketball.
They've had
Basketball.
Lawrence Taylor, though. They had some stars. Julius Peppers, Mac Brown coach
That was
there.
not the question, Western Mass.
Come on, West Mass. Get your shit
Jesus
right.
Christ.
Fuck.
We're coming to the end here. I'm just fucking with you, dude.
It's okay.
The fact that you came at me so nice, like, why would you do that? Now I feel bad that I said that. All right.
when we built this show, I was like, man, Bill Burr could be this show.
Yeah, we wanted Bill Burr on this show so bad.
Jules is usually better at being an
Well, that's why I showed up a month early. I heard the buzz around Hollywood.
We wanted you, man.
You know what? Bill Burr already has a podcast. You know what we should pitch him?
Another podcast.
Another podcast.
Another one.
We launched the second one
know
with
national
Jules and
titles,
Gronk.
I love that one.
You like it?
I love that one.
It's fun.
I just like hearing you guys, like,
Locker
I don't
room
know.
talk.
Yeah, I know, but like some of the shit that comes out about guys you didn't want to play against, what you were going through during the game, or just all of that stuff. It's. I think that's why I love the Mannings. Just it's so funny to just see them now as fans watching the game, but like the psycho level that they're watching it on is I don't know. That's what was always like the magic in the broadcast booth. You had a guy who went to, journalism,
Yeah.
had a command of the English language,
Not
and then you'd bring in a former player and he could add like
Color.
Yes, it's that used to work. Now where do we go?
Bull Belichick. We
didn't finish that.
We haven't finished like maybe 80% of
Oh,
our
and I didn't
questions.
finish. I also invested in this company.
That,
Full
clearly.
disclosure.
Nice.
Full disclosure.
I invested in this
We
company.
got Water Wars here.
Oh, you did?
This is Water Wars, Bubs.
Oh, yeah?
This bad boy right here is 9.5.
All right, how many years in a warehouse did that one sit versus fresh water right from my tap with a filter? Oh, I'm sorry, I mean mountain water. What is
alkaline.
your mine claims mountain water. What is your claim?
Alkaline enhanced water.
What does that even mean?
It balances your pH.
What do you get? Your period?
No, but it for your
Why,
inflammation.
no. Well, do you just lay off sugar?
Or you just drink my water.
Listen, I'm going to stare deep into your husky eyes right now. And I'm going to say that I have, there's a 60% part of me thinks alkaline, it doesn't even exist.
Same. Honestly,
It's like, didn't they say with like electrolytes? Like that's not even a thing. That's just like a word. Like
no.
if you
all
was-
electrolytes is salt. So what you do is when you have an electrolyte, when you put electrolytes in your water, you're putting salt in your water so your body absorbs the water and you don't piss it out. So that's how your body holds the water.
And I'll tell you why I believe that. Because alkaline, you were holding tension. And then when I brought up electrolytes, you relaxed into the couch. I'm like, now he knows.
Well, I know because Brady always put the fucking electrolytes in his water and had to do that whole thing.
Okay. Isn't that Gatorade?
Well, that's sugar in water. So
Did he have his own Gatorade?
he had drops that he would put in his water that were just saltwater drops.
That's hilarious.
Literally,
Just
anytime he
picturing him
opened
with
the
the
water,
little
you would sit and watch him put 30 drops of anytime.
You know what's it's like funny now that someone took it to that level, but I guarantee you, like everybody, that's going to be like normal now. Like
Oh, it is.
Like everybody is going to be.
It's a thing now. Now there's
Yeah.
electrolyte or
and
all
and
that.
people are going to play into their 40s. You think?
No, not like him. You got to be touched by God.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
That's like 45, not well into like that's insane. And he's
It
fucked
is.
it up for everyone because now everyone thinks quarterbacks can play that long. Like we look at Kirk Cousins who tore an Achilles at like 35, and we think this guy, we're gonna pay him $180 million.
dude, the Achilles injury that was the end of your career. Now look, I remember when Kobe, rest his soul, when he
Yeah.
blew out his Achilles, I was like, oh, that, don't have it end like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the worst, right? And whatever the hell he did, he went to Germany, they spun his blood. Now they do that over here, spinning of the blood. I don't know what it is. And he came back, and he's still old, but he was still. He never like played at a level that was embarrassing. Like he was great for the rest of his career. I think Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Dan Marino, he had an Achilles issue. What was that? Early 90s, I believe. Look at that. I went full circle. This is what happens with two traumatic children. Is after a while, neither one's looking at each other. You just sort of self-soothing, rubbing your head, just staring into the honeycomb wood, being like, I wonder why you decided to do that. Was that just to break up the pattern, or does that make it sound better in here?
Cool.
Is-
Let's get into this segment.
Hold on, before we move on from Bill Belichick, We found out through John Bon Jovi that Bill Belichick's an avid drummer. Did you know that?
No.
He's a huge drummer. Was like toured with Bon Jovi in the off season.
That's amazing.
You think you and Belichick could do a duet drumming thing together?
A duet. I mean, usually get drum off. Usually compete
Or drum off?
with that. Duet, you got to be really good because you got to be playing the exact. Yeah, that would be fascinating to watch him play drums.
That'd be fascinating to
It'd be
watch
funny
you
if he
two
just
play drums.
if he just let it all go. It was like making like a stank face, and all of a sudden, oh my God, there's a personality in there.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing him like, yeah, it was 7/8 time on the verse, and then we went to the chorus. It's a basic rock track. Bill, what do you think about the next song you're about to play? Well,
We're onto it.
it's like this song, it's another song, and this one's a couple seconds shorter, but we're still going to give it just as much as we did on the previous song.
Right.
People never understood that he knew, I'm not giving you any bulletin board material. Like, that's what he was doing. So then the sports writers would attack him for having no personality and all of that crap. And it's just like, no, he's making your job difficult. You have to work. Yeah. And then they loved a guy like Rex Ryan. Like, I'm not going up there to kiss their rings. Doing that dumb shit.
You know what?
The article just wrote itself.
So we would literally, we would have a guy. We had a guy came in every year to teach us on how to handle the media and deflect. It was the guy who had to handle all the questions after 9/11 for the fucking White House. He would come in and teach us on how to deflect.
That must have been the quickest job interview ever. What's your background on this? 9/11. All right. Tell everybody out there to go home. We got our guy.
I think he was a Navy admiral. I forgot his name, and I know him. He's a good. I feel bad, but yeah. So we would have this guy come teach us, and it's pretty crazy if you listen to when coaches and players talk to the media. They'll literally give you game plans. Like when a coach says, Coach, what do you got to do this week to win the game? Well, we got to run the football, and we got to do good. So that they're going to be trying to emphasize.
I always just thought that has to be a misdirection. Like, they got to be saying, like,
they could, but a lot of the times they do what they say. And Bill was always like, I'm not saying anything to give them anything. So that's why it came.
Why didn't he just say that to him? Like, listen, I'm not this monotone. I just know what you guys are doing, and you're going to give the other team a competitive advantage. And
with injuries, all that. Like,
yeah.
Why would we have to give why would he ever talk about an injury? Why would you give a timeline on an injury? That's why whenever we had an injury, he'd always say, just worry about what you got to do to get that done. Because you go out there and you say, oh, we're back in 4 weeks after you sprain an ankle, and then it takes 5 weeks, and you're getting more questions. Well, was there a setback? Or if you come back early, when you give a timeline, it fucks everything up. So that's why
you're going to get hammered with questions.
Hammered more. So that's why you always were coy whenever it came to anything.
They're not your friends.
No.
That's. But I've always loved how they get upset, though, if you're not like an open book to them. And when they just, it's like, well, you guys are constantly fucking people over. You're constantly trying to cause controversy where it isn't even there. Like the local sports media, like in New York and Boston. I don't read it out here, but like you would read the articles. It's like, are you for or against our teams here? Like in New York, they were questioning Eli after he beat us twice.
Yeah.
What more does this guy have to do?
Coughlin was on the hot seat each year he fucking won a Super Bowl.
That's
Remember
the
that?
reason they are in the situation they're in right now is because they let that guy go. I think.
I think he's dead now.
No, he isn't. Didn't he go down to Jacksonville?
Yeah, but he was old. They had to let him go.
All right. Well, there goes my theory.
Jack, let's power through this. Let's get into the game.
Let's get into these Dolphins real quick.
Wait, we're going into the game?
Yeah.
We'll do it quick.
We'll power through
We'll do it real quick.
How fucking long is this podcast?
We're quick.
Dolphins are coming off a beat down to the Niners in Super Bowl 19, 12-4. This is Don Shula, Dan Marino, Dwight Stevenson, some Hall of Famers on this team. Dan Marino's coming off his incredible MVP season.
Arguably the greatest season statistically, if you see how the game was played, that he had 48 touchdowns. And the way that you could manhandle receivers and the quarterbacks and all of that, and the fact that he put those numbers up, and they lasted from 84, I want to say, till Drew Brees in like 2010. So it lasted for almost 30 years, that season. It was literally like Wayne Gretzky numbers.
Yeah, but I also have a take on those elite seasons of the past, like the Bear. They had like 270-pound linebackers. When you throw 4 receivers on the field, those guys can't cover space. So like these new age offenses, like the run and shoot that Dan Marino used to run, the West Coast.
Wait, who had 270-pound linebackers?
Well, just in general, the linebacker
No,
in the
linebackers
NFL.
were like 250.
No, yeah, they were huge though. I'm just saying they're
They were
220 now.
250. The defensive
two-
linemen
they're
were like
230.
270. I
Which-
looked at the back of my football cards. You just played the game.
Without a
I had
doubt.
football cards. And then the big thing this season was the refrigerator Perry. He got, you know how much he weighed? 305 pounds.
Yeah.
Now they have entire like lines that weigh like that.
But those the linebackers of this generation and the D linemen, they weren't space guys. They were there to stop the run. The 46, the Bear, that was all linebackers and linemen. You do that to a team now, they're just going to spread you out and shred you. And a lot of these teams like the Dolphins and the Niners of the past, they had these quick hitting throws, which were they were designed to beat these big teams. You know, so like you had an edge on these guys because these guys couldn't cover. They were too innovative with these offenses. So when you have a guy like what?
Great point.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, nobody figured that out. These guys did it. These guys exposed them.
Well, they did.
And
Belichick created the nickel defense because of it. He was the first one to take a linebacker out and bring a third corner in.
I understand that. Did Don Shula figure that out? Did Don Shula have 5 white guys back there to try and what I'm saying is I'm trying to talk about this game. Okay?
Let's hear it.
And I understand that because you played in a different era, I'm getting into your feelings.
No,
I also know it has nothing to do with the game. It has more to do with you and your father. No, I mean, I'm not going to debate you on this. You're a professional football player, but it's just like, I would just say as a fan, for some reason, the first fucking, I don't know how many weeks, everybody was getting fucking raped by this team.
Yeah.
And he came in and he wasn't dinking and dunking down the field. He was throwing, he was fucking unloading on these people. And like I said, when you look at their defense, you know, look at the fucking names on this roster. I'm not shitting on these guys, but this is not like, oh my God, they had this guy, they had that guy, they had that guy. Their whole team was basically, the Dolphins, I'm saying, was Marino, Clayton, and Duper. And they were like unstoppable against this defense that allegedly nobody could beat. So I don't know. And then the fact also that he saved the their undefeated season.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what sucks is the AFC Championship game that year was the Patriots versus the Dolphins. We go down to the Orange Bowl. We hadn't won there in forever. And it's the worst thing ever is we beat them. It was great as a Patriots fan. It led to the worst Super Bowl ever. And it could have been the rematch. It could have been the rematch. And I got to tell you, oh, my God, if Dan Marino goes in and he beats him again, he beats this fucking unbeatable thing twice. I mean, I don't know. It's just there's I call those the greatest games that never happened.
Yeah.
We covered that game with Gary Goldman. It was awesome.
Oh, the orange
AFC Championship game where the
Squish the
Patriots
fish.
kicked the shit out of the.
Oh, and Brian
Dolphins.
Holloway, brick by brick, crying afterwards. I went to the airport after both those games when we beat the Raiders and went down to Providence. You want to talk pre 9/11? Bunch of drunk Patriots fans on the tarmac. We just opened a door. We were standing, and you remember those things where the pickup trucks with the stairs would drive up to the
Yeah.
plane? We had commandeered one of those. I didn't get on it, but there was people who had gone all the way up on the top of it. It was a fucking shit show. And these guys there was no security. They had to walk through all the fans. I still remember Julius Adams, rest his soul, came walking by and he had this brown leather jacket on. Somebody behind me went bam, bam, bam on his shoulder just after he played football. And he turned around and gave me a death stare. I was like, it was that guy. It was that guy. And we went down there. After the Raiders game, there was probably a couple hundred people. After the Dolphins game, dude, there was like 1,000 people in. I'm sure they've redone the airport. It's Providence. They would fly into Providence.
Yeah. We still do.
Yeah, you'd see that. Oh, yeah, and we were on. The fucking plane was pulling in, and we had to like clear out like it was the end of some cartoon or something.
You know, those are some of the coolest things when the fans would do that. Like when we came home after beating the Kansas City Chiefs in 18. we get back at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, because you leave right after the game.
Right.
And when we got there was probably 10,000 fans just chill. And you can't do it like you said on the tarmac and everything, but they would chill outside the gate, and that's like the coolest thing.
Oh yeah.
When the fucking, the community's out there, 4 in the morning, fucking going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I remember
Those are the
seeing
coolest.
Tony Eason. I got to shake
Tony
him
Eason.
hand. He had a members only jacket, which was the shit in
Was.
'85.
Still, he came back.
Styling.
They're back. They're back.
Yeah, no, they are. I hate when shit's like in style and everybody wants it, and then the second it's out of style, everybody acted like they didn't want it or they didn't have one of those things. I don't know why.
Skinny jeans.
Skinny jeans out?
They're out. They're back to 90s, like baggier jeans.
Baggier. I go mid.
Yeah.
I'm
You
mid.
can never go wrong.
Yeah, mid.
Timeless.
Yeah.
Timeless.
You know what I mean?
Let's go through these Bears real
Don't
quick and we'll
choke
wrap
me
this
out,
thing
but
up.
support it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You know?
Got to have a little runway.
Little lift.
Little lift. Can't be all tightened in there.
Yeah, that's as you get older, your balls start hanging in the toilet water. You can't have that.
Yeah.
Like
they do.
that's why that whole
Scrotum. It's a lot longer.
Speaking of the long ball, Dan Marino was airing it out this game. Segue of the year, baby. Oh, man. Tossing it all over the yard. The 4-6 defense didn't matter. The 3-4 didn't matter. Dan came out, was bombing them. Nat Moore, we talked about Mark Duper, all those guys. Putting up the first touchdown on this vaunted Bears defense in 13 quarters right out of the gate. 31-10 at the half. They kept it rolling 38-24.
Look at that.
Miami
He
wins.
only threw for 245 yards.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's all he threw for. There was still a great, and you got it. Also, if you look at the Bears, I mean, just littered with Hall of Famers.
O.J. Simpson was on there.
Mike Singletary.
No.
O.J. Simpson was
No,
on the
he,
call.
he was on the
broadcast.
broadcast.
Yeah.
Oh, OJ was on
The broadcast.
I remember that year. They had, and then they had Joe Namath, and OJ, and OJ used to always be, see what I would do right there. I would have cut it back. He used to always say what the running back did wrong, and then I just remember Joe Namath that was a good play. Just the way he always said, that was a really good play. He had a thing. He always play. That was like the buzzword.
It sounds like him.
Really?
Oh, I love those guys, man.
This game made us think of when they had Dennis Miller be on Monday Night Football and how
Dennis Miller.
the idea of that I think was great. It was way ahead of its time, and I don't think Dennis Miller was the right person.
It was like the first podcasting vibe,
yeah.
like way back in the day. You know what somebody was bringing up is how, remember the NHL had that stupid trail behind the puck that one year?
Yeah.
And they go, as much as everybody made fun of that, like the amount of graphics that is now like on the screen, you don't notice it. But I would say I don't think anybody ever topped
They
the
gotta bring it
flames
back.
coming out the back,
Shoot at the glow
back
puck.
of the puck.
I liked it.
96 and Fox. I was lost to the
They should bring
Panthers.
it back.
Yeah.
I can never see the puck on TV.
My favorite argument to that was one of the NHL players goes, I mean, it's literally a black object against a white surface. Like I don't, try to just start watching the player everybody seems to be paying attention to. There's a
Yeah.
good chance he has the puck. I never had a problem following the puck, and I used to watch it on that little square TV. Stan Jonathan, honorable mention. If we're going to say like the tough guys that kept the finesse players safe, I would say Terry O'Reilly, Stan Jonathan, Jay Miller, Lyndon Byers. That was my whole era. It was the end of Wayne Cashman and Wayne Cashman and Terry O'Reilly towards the end of their thing into those Cam Neely era, Ray Bork and all of that. And that was my favorite ever. Going to see hockey in the Boston Garden, and they had all these the old arenas.
Yeah.
Those basketball and hockey arenas, you were like on top of the game. But I found out now, obviously with luxury boxes, it makes them bigger. But the upper decks, they can't have that steep a grade
Anymore.
because it's too dangerous, because people are too fucking fat. It's
And-
just like, well, why don't you
or drunk.
get people in shape? Yeah, I mean,
Or drunk.
I got one. Do you guys ever see that guy at the Reds game? That fucking guy is yoked, and he reaches for a foul ball in the upper deck, and he goes all the way over and with one arm, like hung on.
I do remember that.
Remember that? Oh my
Yes.
God. He
That-
would have died, and he would have fucking broke the back of whoever he landed on.
That would have been. I wonder how many deaths have been in the stadiums of like that.
Somebody
There had-
fell off the back of the Patriots stadium and died Monday Night Football. Before they had the fence up there,
Yeah.
he fucking fell off the back. There he is. Look at that guy. If you see the video, he is like in such like 80s shape. Like his torso, I mean, he could have fought like a bear.
What a guy.
Let's name the game.
All right.
What do you think this is?
I've had a great time, by the way.
Are you?
Yeah, no, I'm having a great time. I'm just doing what I do. I'm just being a dick.
Well, I like it.
You like it? Okay, cool. All right.
Name the game. Miami on a Monday. Monday night in Miami. The greatest Monday night game. Monday night Marino. Marino torches the Bears. Dan dismantles the Bears. Dan and Duper dismantled the Bears. Or do you have a name?
Monday Night Marino. That kind of flows.
Monday night Marino.
Dan destroys the Bears.
All right, let's score the game.
Yeah, Monday Night Marino.
I like that.
Score the game. Is this the greatest game of all time? Let's score it. Stakes 0 to 10. Decimals okay, Bill. The stakes of this game. Week 14, 85 Bears, undefeated.
Yeah, this is I'm not gonna lie to you. I picked a kind of went with the Jaguar of
This is actually a really good game.
this
This is
pick.
a good game.
fucking great game.
And this is a great stake because this is the undefeated franchise that's playing the team that could potentially go undefeated.
I get it. You guys want to go hot topic. I picked an indie band here. So I would say the stakes as far as Dan Marino's legacy and me being able to shut down everybody in a sports bar, I give it a 10. But as far as overall, in the pantheon of greatest games of all time, the fact that it's not even a playoff game, playoffs. I would say 3.
Ooh, 3. Okay.
That's
Well,
By the way,
because-
no, we
Demand
love that you
score.
picked this game.
No
We
rookie
love when
scores
people
here.
show up with real games. We love that.
Oh, you did? Well, you guys have been shitting on it.
Well, Jules just can't ask a question.
Yeah.
Listen,
my
Jules has been through a lot.
ADD has gotten me today.
It's not
And
easy.
I say it every time I have like a comedian or
You know,
an actor
there's-
on here.
There's a sadness to him behind those husky eyes.
I've been here for 10 years, Bill. I know.
There is. There is a sadness.
You know something? I like breaking people's balls, but if they have that look on, like I saw the pain on your face, I can't do it. And you did it to me, and it just makes me feel. You know, who used to do that? Bob Saget, rest his soul.
R.I.P.
I looked at his house.
Bob would like die laughing at everything you said, but every once in a while you do a joke, and he would go. And it wasn't that you hurt him; it's that he was disappointed in you. But I remember when I did his podcast, I asked him if he dyed his hair with Just for Almost Men. And he made that sad face because the whole podcast he was trying to get me to open up, and he was trying to be nice and loving because that's what he was. And it bothers me that I didn't let him do it, but I was having so much, and I think that was when he finally gave up and just realized I was too damaged. And I remember I texted him. I said, "Hey man, thanks again. I had a great time." And he goes, "Did you?" I still can't believe he's gone, man. I loved him so much.
I
Yeah,
know.
he was the best. He would have been a great guest. Instead, you ended up with me.
Wouldn't have it any other way. I'm going to go with a 5.
Okay.
Jack 7-8, I'd 7-1.
Star power of this game. A lot of Hall of Famers.
Oh, star power of this game, 10.
10.
Fuck, come on. Walter Payton, all-time rushing leader at the time.
Ditka.
Dan Marino,
All-time
Ditka,
passing.
Don Shula, Richard Dent, Mike Singletary, Gary Fensick,
Buddy Ryan.
Rivera.
Willie Galt, Dan Hampton,
A lot of good players. A
Matt
lot of Hall of
Suey.
Famers.
He used to block for Peyton Manning. Not Peyton Manning, sorry. Walter Payton.
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton Manning.
I'm going to go with a 9. A lot of good players.
Oh, with an 8-9 right there with you.
Coaches.
At 8-5 for the 85
Ooh,
Bears.
Jesus. Tough crowd over there.
The Russian judges over here.
Yeah, the Russian judges. All
The
right.
gameplay of this game. It was back
Great
and
reference, by the way. It's so funny that they fucked us in like figure skating. Like we give a shit.
We're going to get it over.
Oh, you goddamn Russians.
forth. Got him in hockey, though.
Yes, we did once. All right.
1962.
Gameplay of this.
There's a great band called Russian Circles, which is a hockey workout thing that they came up with. There's a band, an incredible band named Russian Circles.
What kind of, was it like rock?
It's but heavy, no singing, instrumental, with one of the fucking most killer drummers out there right now. See that? I'm under the wire. I am under the wire here.
I'm
All
going
right.
to check them out. Russian Circles.
Yes. Gameplay.
Gameplay.
I would say I gave it a 10 because I was so sick of watching the Bears destroy everybody, and they did that stupid Super Bowl shuffle thing, which was cringy the second it came out. And I don't know. They were just hamming it up too much. So, and then also, maybe I kind of knew that if my team ever played them, we would lose like 45-3, 46-3, whatever. How about the fact they never gave Peyton the ball?
And I know the fridge. I gave it to the fridge.
They gave it to the fridge.
And
Listen, Mike Ditka got, he got knocked around a lot back in the day.
That's sad.
So maybe he just forgot for half a second.
Yeah.
You know what's a weird era in Mike Ditka is when he had the blonde highlights.
He did have the blonde highlights.
Dude, he looked like a fucking coke dealer. He had that He looked like the cop that would shake you down, take your drugs, and now you work for me. That's what he looked like when he first started coaching. When he had the blonde highlights, and then he just had the total brown mustache. I loved him, dude. That guy was scary at home, just in an interview.
Fucking Ditka.
Remember when he was doing that? Next question. And he was staring at me. When he just had fucking had it enough. Like, I just can't imagine being that much of a man and then having to sit across from those sports writers and be like, well, what about in the third quarter? How come you ran it instead of passed it? And he's just like, I want to twist your fucking head off. Or maybe I'm projecting. All right.
I'm going to go with the gameplay of 7.
7, okay.
Jack had 7.7. I had a 6.9. Name of the game, the Monday Night
That's
Marino.
a good name.
I give this game a 10. Oh, the name of the game is a 10. I just love this game.
Love it.
I'm going to go with 8. 8.
You know what I see with
I
your
went with an
numbers?
8-1.
I see respect.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
That's
Jack had
respectful,
8-1. I had
man.
Well, it's
7.9.
intimidating to come here, one of the great wide receivers of all time, flanker, whatever they called you,
Slot.
slot.
Even though I had more catches on the outside, but whatever.
7.8.
Dude, how about that touchdown pass you threw?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dola. That was fun.
Did your dad give it up when you did that?
My dad's
You could have let him more.
no, my dad's my biggest fan.
I know,
now,
I'm
but
joking.
when I was a kid, he was tough motherfucker.
I did what I had to do to get you where I wanted you to be. I mean, to make your dreams come true.
No, he goes, you know what? I look back on how I parented you, and I think I should have been thrown in jail. He said that a couple times.
Oh, dude. I mean, you can't ask anything more than that. All right.
So this game is 38th overall. It is just ahead of Elway versus Montana, 1994 Week 7, Chiefs versus Broncos. We did with Eric Stone Street, I believe, and then the 2021 SEC Championship, UGA versus Bama. Yeah,
That's where it lands.
Super Bowl 21 is the 39th best game of all time. That's interesting. Well, what do you got the best?
a little Patriots heavy.
Yeah, little Patriots have it. Can I tell you what game everybody loved that I fucking hated?
Which game?
Was that Chiefs-Bills playoff game where
13
neither
seconds?
defense could
Oh, yeah.
stop.
Yes.
I was like, what am I
13 seconds.
What am I watching?
I had the same exact feeling. You talk about
Yeah, it's
the
like,
modern
this isn't
era
football,
of football
anymore. This is like I'm watching somebody play a
basketball.
video game.
7-on-7.
It's like, why? What do you know?
I
He plays
know.
fucking
The
defense
NBA is
anymore.
they'll listen. The NBA is this weird time. It's the greatest shooters of all time, but it looks like a shoot around. They're just running from the 3-point arc to
It
the
looks like a
3-point arc.
horse.
Yeah, it's weird, but I mean, but I will say, I will never stop being amazed that some 7-foot guy can drain a 3 now. Like that was one of those things. Like you hope that happened once a year, or just for whatever reason, garbage time. You'd have that backup white center would be. He would put it up, and if that thing went in, people would talk about it for a week. We would be in like study class, study hall or whatever, just being like, I know, but what about when fucking, Rick Roby hit that fucking 3-pointer against the Kansas City Kings way back in the day. I'm not saying that happened. I forget who did it, but or Manute Bull, would do stuff like that. Now it happens
Bull.
all the time. So there's this weird thing where I think the talent is the greatest it's ever been. And I don't buy into that shit. Like, oh, these kids today, they're soft. They couldn't play in another era. It's like they would play differently. And the guys from your era would play this way. If that's how the game is being played. Like that whole thing that LeBron couldn't. I mean, he's basically a defensive lineman playing hoop. Like I look at him, he would be like Anthony Mason that could score 50. If he played on those early 90s Knicks teams, whew.
Yeah, it's just time always, the athlete will always get better just from information, studying. Like it used to be a folklore on how Jerry Rice used to train. Now I can go on Instagram and watch my favorite football player.
There's women CrossFitting at that level. Yeah, that's what they do. It's like, all right, is it? But then, like, everything becomes possible. Like, you remember, who's that guy in the Giants who made that ridiculous catch like that?
OBJ.
Now,
Odell.
yeah, now, like,
Everyone does it.
because they practice it and they got those things that you go like this.
But it
to
pisses me off because a lot of these guys try these one-handed catches when you could put two-handed catches on it, and then they drop the one-handed catch.
Guess what? You've just dipped your toe into becoming an old man.
I know.
Because let me tell you something, kid. When I did it, you use both your goddamn hands.
100%.
Stop trying to get on television.
Instagram.
Move the fucking sticks or get the fuck off the field. Then we start smoking a pipe.
I like pipes. I like pipes. You got to get third downs to get touchdowns. Bill, did we miss anything on this game?
No, I think I don't think that we did, and I am happy that there was a forum here to put a little more, I feel, the proper perspective on Dan Marino's career. And, he could have, he kept re-signing with the Dolphins. He could have left. He could have gone somewhere else. He could have done that baby shit and just go pile on with somebody else. And he didn't. He stuck it out. And I think that, the way these, these skippy fucking guys who never played the game look at him, he's just, the thing about them is sports writers, is their thing is championships is their way of taking out their own shortcomings on professional athletes. And the reality is, all of these leagues have 28 teams then, so you had a 1 in 28 year mathematically chance of fucking winning. Nobody plays for 28 years. So most people are not going to have a ring, and that's like they're in to be like, you know what my knock is on that guy? These fucking guys who are going to drop a heart attacks at 45, the way that they judge you guys. So, I mean, if you know the deal, having played with the Patriots, it isn't any one person. You got to have the coach, you got to have the players, you got to have the GM, you have to have the owner, and you have to have luck. You have to have all of that shit. That's what the Chiefs have right now, and it's going their way. Jesus, is it ever? It's all of that stuff. And then when somebody goes on a run like the amount of people that aren't going to get rings now because of what the Chiefs are doing, or the amount of people that didn't get rings, when Jordan played, or what the Patriots did, what the Yankees did in the late 90s, to hold that against somebody, I just think I never listened to that, and it's always bugged me. And I fucking hated the Dolphins. And there was a period where I hated Dan Marino just because he was beating us, but I always respected him. And then, the longer he did it, and I started hearing those sports writers, because we would watch him twice a year come in and do what he did to us. And I would just be like, these guys this is fucking ridiculous, the level of shit that this guy's getting.
Yeah.
And he's down there like, he's got the franchise on his back. So, huge Dan Marino fan. So I'm thanking you for letting me come on here and at least presenting a different argument when it comes to that shit.
No, we appreciate you coming on. Dan Marino, I've met him a few times. Such a cool dude.
He
doesn't get the respect that he, if he were to play it nowadays, I mean, he'd be like a 6,000-yard quarterback.
Yeah. I actually got to say that to him at a benefit.
You did?
And he was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." I go, he fucking threw for 4,800 yards when that
he was dipping
documentary
too
on
when
him.
I met him. When we were hanging out at the Super Bowl, we were at a cool restaurant in Vegas. I saw him. He had a dip in with a cool sport coat on.
What about his release? Quickest release. Arm goes up, ball comes out. That's what his dad said. Dude, it looks like they sped up the film. He just goes. It's like a machine. And that was another thing that I think helped him with playing against the Bears, is no matter how good their rush was, he could get the ball out so quickly and so accurately. And that was my big thing. Like, we'd pay him twice a year, maybe sack him once. And when we finally did, I would run up the TV I was just so building up, fuck. Every time you thought you had the guy, and it was always complete. All right, I'm starting to hate him again, thinking about him playing the Patriots.
Well, Bill, thank you so much. Everyone go out and check out Bill Burr's new special that comes out in March, Drop Dead Years, on Hulu. Also, Bill's made his Broadway debut. How's that? That's cool.
You're not reading the right tense.
Also in March,
coming out in March. Yes. I haven't done any.
His Broadway debut.
Special hasn't come up. Special comes out in March on Hulu.
Kieran Culkin.
Yep.
He's a cat's meow right now.
Yep.
I see him on everything.
Coming in here, if they had 1,000 lists of expressions that you were going to use, cat's meow is not on that fucking list.
That's a
Did you
good one.
wait? Did you wait a minute? Wait a minute. Did you feel like you had to say that because Cats was on Broadway? Do you have a whole? These shoes make way more sense now.
I don't know. The cat's meow.
Cat's meow.
Best thing since sliced bread.
Bee's knees.
Bee's knees.
Yeah, that's your Kansas. That's your Kansas coming out. Bee's knees.
What is
I'll tell you, you have more trouble in a little bit.
Glenn Ross?
Yep, Glenn Ross on Broadway. I got a Monday morning podcast, and I do Anything Better with Paul Verzi, who would be a great guest for your show.
You gotta get Paul in here.
Okay, the one most fucked up Southern saying I ever heard?
What?
Yeah, that boy would fuck a rock if he thought a snake was under it.
Wait, say that again?
That boy would fuck a rock if he thought a snake was under it. I was just like, I don't know what that means,
I don't either.
but I need to talk to my agent. Where have you booked me?
I love Southern terms, though.
They had, that boy'd fuck mud. Like, I don't even...
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Bill.
What an episode of Bill Burr. You know what? I always get a little... I feel like I'm 2 for 2 on Boston's actor.
You clammed up.
Clam up.
You clammed up. The lights got too bright for you.
Get a little clammed up. He got on my shoes, this fucking guy.
He's
I
the
wanted
best.
to call him a boomer. I'm like, that's a boomer joke. He might be a boomer, though.
He definitely is.
I think he's a boomer.
I was hoping you'd rag on him because he was calling you kind of effeminate for wearing those shoes, but he wore your jersey in SNL. Like,
Did he?
yeah, wearing another man's jersey. Come on,
Nah, that's kind of cool.
it's kind of tight. But
That's
still,
kind of tight. It's,
you know.
Bill Burr wears your jersey. Fuck that. That's tight. Won't rag on him for that. But
He was awesome.
he was awesome. He was awesome. But it's time for the Chill Zone, brought to you by Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit at CoorsLight.com/GWN. Celebrate responsibly. Everyone go out and order it online with the /GWN because we probably get hella more hits for that, and it makes our podcast look tighter. So do that. Today we're hitting the old hotline, or should I say the chill line. Again, that number is 424-291-2290. Let's get into it. Grab one. Grab one. They're nice and cold and chilly.
All right, you ready to get into this?
It's Tim Molaski calling from fucking Central Florida. I just want to know, how do you feel about Aaron Glenn and the Jets? Are they going to make it over the hump finally? I'm believing. I'm buying in. I think he's the man. I think he's a difference maker. I think he's the one to bring us back to the promised land in the AFC East. Let me know what your thoughts are. Love your show. Thanks.
Tim Molaski. That's a great name. Molaski. From Florida, Central Florida. Is that like Orlando?
Yeah, that's UCF territory.
You know who lives in
Knights.
Orlando?
Who?
Charles Woodson.
Really?
Yeah, he lives in Orlando. He loves it. I want to go visit
Brandon
him.
Marshall.
Huh?
Monte Culpepper. Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, it's a hub.
Kevin Smith. Those are
Probably a lot. There's
UCF guys.
Yeah, a lot of you. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now let's get back to the question of Aaron Glenn to the Jets. Is he going to be the guy to bring him over the hump? I'm excited for the Aaron Glenn hire. I like him as a coach. And he's a former player. He was a former really good football player. He's shown nothing but greatness. I liked his press conference. Did you see his press conference?
I didn't know.
I thought he sounded like he could command a room. It just, it sucks because that's a tough job. It's not just being a coach there. So, like, to make the Jets finally get over the hump, in theory, he's taken over a pretty solid defense. If he can get that defense popping, you get a little, because, Saleh had him going.
Yeah, he had him going too.
Yeah. And so you bring in Aaron Glenn there, and he kind of knows that market, man. He wanted that job. So I think that makes a difference. But it's going to depend on, like, the offense.
They'll have to figure out quarterback. Gonna have to figure out some front office stuff.
Yeah, well, is Aaron gonna play ball? Is he there? Is he gonna bring him back? And if he's gonna bring him back, he needs to be a positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying he's not a positive guy, but you got to do the little shit. Like you're gonna have to be at the off season. Like you gotta have a new culture of like, guys, we gotta
Be a part of that culture.
we gotta be a part of that culture.
Well,
Now,
I
if
mean-
Aaron does that, like that's a slam dunk move right there.
I mean,
I
he
believe.
saw Dan Campbell do it in Detroit, so you can see that blueprint of what you can do.
No,
to
yeah,
change a culture.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
It's just it's not even for these coaches that could be good head coaches, or it's about the situation they're going into. And like it's a crapshoot if you don't have a quarterback. It's a crapshoot when you do have a quarterback. So like, and it's ultimately about that, So I'm rooting for Aaron Glenn, not against the Patriots, but I'm rooting for him because I respect the hell out of him. I think he did a great job with this defense in Detroit that had like full next man up mentality, but they all when they still were able to make plays and get off the field for the consistent part of the year with all those different players, I mean that's something to do. That's the coach. So they believe in it. I'm hoping he does well.
Okay, for every other sports fan outside of Kansas City and Philadelphia, like we're in total hell. The Super Bowl is going to be the worst. Can we not play it? I would like to see both lose. And this game against the Bills and the Chiefs, clearly everyone should know now that the only person who can beat Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady.
This is a great Super Bowl. There's history on the line. Regardless if you hate it or you like it, this is a historical moment. No back-to-back team has even got to the Super Bowl, I don't think. I'm pretty sure. Like it's been like, there hasn't. No, don't fact check me. And I'm in.
I mean, we had the Bills go to 4 Super Bowls, but they didn't win any.
No, I'm talking about winning.
Yeah.
The back-to-back winner, I don't think has ever gone to the Super Bowl. Like this is some uncharted territory. This is this is insane, especially in the era we're in right now.
And New Orleans is turf too, so no excuses from the Eagles this time.
The Eagles look good, man. I've been talking myself up, and I've been against these Eagles all year. But like, look, I thought that Sirianni. See, I don't want to jump on because the last time I did something like this, I jumped on the Sam Darnold train, and then I slapped him in the ass. He shits in my fucking hand. Okay, I still think that Philly, like they've played good. They've played good. Vic Fangio. And I gotta tip my hat to Sirianni. Like he's been dealing with a lot of shit, and they're there. But they got to win this thing. And the thing is, they got a hungry ass Saquon Barkley with 2 weeks to get healthy. He's gonna do it. You see how fucking motivated he was. You see that? This is gonna be a good Super Bowl.
For all the shit that Nick Sirianni has gotten, he's been a coach for 3 years and has been to the Super Bowl in 2 of those years.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Edgar Carrera from Yakima, Washington, home of Cooper Kupp. Quick question for you guys. Do you think if Patrick Mahomes three-peats in this Super Bowl that they would be considered better than the 2014 to 2018 New England Patriots? Let us know. Go Hawks.
Yeah, they probably would.
Yeah, back to back to back.
Yeah, they've got 4 Super Bowls in a short ass time. You got to, I mean, you got to tip your cap. But that's when you become big dog. You're the big dogs. They're big dog.
It's unprecedented. 3 years
They're
in a
big
row
dog.
would be insane.
I don't like saying it, but it's the truth. That's big dog.
They got work to do for the whole Patriots experience, but the second dynasty.
Yep. Hey, big dogs right now, dog.
Hey guys, it's Alan, your guy from the old Nuthouse Nation. Hey, listen, there's a lot of negativity out there around this Super Bowl. The Chiefs getting push through and, I don't know, the Eagles, rematch, blah, 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 viewership down. Listen, let's take a step back and just be happy. Happy we got football. Happy we got a game. Happy we can sit around, crack a Coors Light, eat some wings, get some pizza, hang out with friends, family, your dog, if you're a cat guy, that's cool too. Whatever, we're happy for you.
I agree with
Let's
that.
just be happy we got some mother effing football. And that's it. All right, love you, bye.
I agree.
It's a great message, Donald.
That's happiness. Someone asked me, what's your happy place?
What's your answer?
I went into thinking like Happy Gilmore. Like no, but mine was my dog and Lily. Lily's practicing shooting goals and smoking them every time, like 100 for 100 in my happy place. While Rocky's being a good dog and not going after the ball. He's just sitting there and jumping up, celebrating like a well-trained dog. While I'm sitting back in a lawn chair watching with I think I got 2 kettlebells and I'm just doing sets of random sumo squats.
You're working out in your happy place.
In my happy place with like a band doing some glute stuff. Make my body feel hella good, watching my kids score hella goal, my dog well trained. That was my happy place.
Big old chowing.
It was funny. That's what I thought about. I was sitting there like, where would my happy place? It'd be that, yeah, she's trying to get herself better. Dog is pretty good. Well, fuck it.
Now, do
Some
you
activity.
have a therapist?
Huh?
Do you have a therapist?
No, but I need one.
Hello. What is a city that you think is deserving of a Super Bowl that hasn't had a Super Bowl set there yet? Okay, that's all. Bye.
Wow.
A city that has never hosted a Super Bowl city, which was the best one to host a new Super Bowl?
Huh. Let me think about this.
I'm just gonna say Boston. How fucking tight would that be? Cold weather Super Bowl, back to the roots.
Ooh.
Foxborough was a little bit far from Boston. It's always annoying.
Like, there's no stadium.
Yeah, Gillette.
Oh, so it's gonna be at Gillette?
Yeah, just like how San Francisco does it. All this shit's in San Francisco and the stadium's in Santa Clara.
Nah, I'm not. I like warm Super Bowl, just because we lost in 2 cold Super Bowl. We lost in cold Super Bowl in Indy, and I know it was in Indy, but it's still cold Super Bowl. And then Minnesota, cold Super Bowl. Don't like cold Super Bowl.
So, okay, so then what's a warm city? Nashville?
No.
They're probably getting one soon. I think they get a new stadium.
Where's another city? Where's a warm area? Is Puerto Rico's a city?
Yeah, account. San Juan.
The Gulf of America just put on a float in the Gulf of America.
The U.S. Virgin Islands. What about the Aloha Bowl?
That would be kind of tight.
Dude,
Have they ever had a Super Bowl in Hawaii?
Just the Pro Bowl. I drove by.
That's where I would go.
It's dilapidated as shit.
I would go to Hawaii.
You gotta redo the Aloha Bowl though.
Oh no, this is like the World Cup. We would blow that thing out and build an extravagant, beautiful. This is like a 4-year down the road. And I love the history of the what is it? What bowl is it called? The Aloha Bowl.
Aloha Bowl.
Because that's where the Rainbows used to play.
Yeah, Rainbow Warriors.
Like Colt Brennan and stuff. I
Yeah.
used to watch that stuff. And I went to
Tommy
JUCO, so
Chang?
yeah.
Chang?
Chang.
He's the head
Johnny
coach there
Chang.
now.
Yeah, he's somewhere. But yeah, we got to go full new though. We got to
Chow
go full
does
new.
the coin flip.
Huh?
Norm Chow does the coin flip.
Norm Chow, Laird Hamilton would have to be a part of it in some form or fashion. I want him like to open the ceremony. He's got to surf a big wave.
Well, maybe you go like the Jacksonville route and you have a pool in the new stadium and Laird is just in there holding his breath.
No. But there would be like, like when you do like the Super Bowl, like Fox would host it, obviously, and you have like the pre-show stuff,
Yeah.
and there's always like the like cut-ups and like the introductory like cool things that they put together.
Interstitials, yeah.
Yeah. it'd be like him, it'd be like a James Bond thing where he'd surf in and like deliver the ball, like because he's like, you know what I mean? He's pretty big over there. And there's probably some other guy that he would want to have join him because he wouldn't want to take all the attention of Hawaii. He'd want someone probably from there as well, because that's the kind of dude he is. So you'd have two of them surfing in on big waves, getting pulled in. Maybe I'll be on the jet ski guy. They'll teach me how to do the jet ski thing. I'll pull them in, and then we'll go.
Maybe the Dolphins are in it.
And we'll start it, huh?
Maybe Tua's the starting quarterback.
Nah, Tua's not. Come on. This isn't a dream. This could actually happen.
Okay, so Hawaii next Super Bowl city. I dig it. I'm going for Boston or Green Bay. Would be fun. Just for the history and the culture.
Dude, Hawaii, dog. That's tight. That's a good question.
Hi, my name is Martha from Hawaii. I'm wondering what you would do and drink on the Monday after Super Bowl, but if you lost.
Martha from Hawaii, what would you do or drink on the Monday after the Super Bowl, but if you lost? Definitely probably drinking a smoothie, always. Or a Coors Light.
Maybe a Coors Light.
Coors Light.
What did you do on a Monday after a loss?
What do you mean?
The Indianapolis one. Just done, go home, chill.
Yeah, I just remember I remember that next, like the travel home with the team.
You travel home that night or was it next day?
Next day.
Next day.
So brutal. And you just went home and it was like cold and snowy. Wasn't it snowy? No, not in 12. Maybe.
It wasn't so
Usually
bad.
it's always...
It was cold, but it wasn't snowy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just was a bad... And then you're just like planning on like, man, I want to get out of here.
How quickly do you go to the facility to clean out your shit and like do exit interviews? It's like the next day?
Yeah,
Tuesday?
you're hanging out there for... I'd be there for the next couple... until I left, so you still do your routine. Do your shit. Go in and see the boys. Eat some free food. Get in the old hot tub, cold tub. Just sit there. Everyone's just departing. Everyone's leaving. And you're thinking about everything you did wrong. That whole off season.
Hey, Julian, Jack, and Kyler. Sam from Pennsylvania. Been a Patriots fan for a long time. My question is, what is the most cool or interesting fact about playing in a Super Bowl that the average person might not know? I'm excited for the 2025 season. Going to be great for the Patriots. Thanks.
Pennsylvania. We were just talking about that with Lily. She's like, I want to go to Pennsylvania. I'm like, why do you want to go to Pennsylvania? She goes, I think it's beautiful there. I go, what? Well,
you were just in Pennsylvania.
I know. But I was like, how do you know Pennsylvania? I think it's because it sounds like Transylvania. And that's because that's what I used to think as a kid. I wanted to go Pennsylvania because I think it's like where the vampires are. Transylvania. So, yeah, Pennsylvania. Super Bowl fact. The average person wouldn't know. Average person wouldn't know that you have to pay for all your tickets at face value. And then you have to pay extreme amount of money for all your friends and family's hotels. And so all the money you make in your playoffs, you basically spend at the Super Bowl and you play for free. For the love of the game.
Memories off the lifetime. Also, I think a fun one that you've told me is that because there's two teams, they both do a party and they play on a party and there's like concerts and musicians and it's a whole fucking party and they still do.
Yeah, there's a losing
team,
party.
Yeah, it does one.
There's a losing party.
Yeah. The vibes are less cool, I suspect.
No vibes.
Except for if Rob's there.
Rob did go ham with LMFAO with a broken ankle after the loss. He did. But he made the vibes good.
Yeah.
We needed that.
Yeah. All right, let's do two more.
Fucking Rob.
Hey, how's it going? This is Evan, calling from Los Angeles. I was wondering if you think the Chiefs and the Eagles were playing each other in a beer pong tournament, who would they choose for either side, and who do you think would come out on top? Thanks for your time. First time, long time. Bye.
Ooh, that's a good question. So two guys.
2 guys each
Per
team.
team.
Beer pong.
Chiefs
are easy.
Chiefs is, Patrick knows how to play. You know for a fact that I think he even showed it in like documentary. He's wet.
And he's clutch. That's a no-brainer.
No brainer. And he's
then-
probably better with like 10 beers in him.
And then who's his partner?
It's got to be Travis, right? He probably knows how to play. I think he knows how to play too, though.
Yeah, it's
But
got to
there's
be
got to be a
Travis.
dude on that team. There's someone on that team that we just don't know his name.
You know who I think it might be?
Who?
Dark horse? Andy Reid.
Andy Reid?
Put on a Hawaiian shirt. I bet his defense
He is the
great.
king of a barbecue. And I think he's Mormon though, so they probably use like Red Bull.
Yeah, it just was water.
Water?
Yeah. Can Mormons do caffeine?
No, they don't.
They can't do Red Bull.
Speaking of Mormons, how great is that show,
Dude, it's so
American
good.
Primeval?
Will you text
How do you
Peter
say
Berg?
it?
American Primeval.
Is
Will
that?
you
But
text
then
Peter
I
Berg and
read
get
it,
him on the
and
show?
I'm like, is it Primeval?
Primeval. It's just spelt weird.
Yeah.
Great
show.
Will you get Pete Berg on the show?
I
You
want
just
to get
do
Peter
it?
on now.
He's fucking so cool.
I would love now that he has like,
He has a reason to do media.
He's so cool though. He freaking
He's got such a wild career too.
He's had a wild career, and he's always connected with like the coolest. Like he connected me during the fires with like freaking a bunch of the firefighters, 2 of like the biggest firefighters in LA are from Boston. From Southie, the Mullins. So shout out to the
sick.
Mullies.
Awesome.
They're freaking awesome. They coming by my house and stuff, checking it out. My dog's about to give me some hoses and stuff. We're getting like he's walking me through if anything comes down. We got this, like it was pretty tight. And that's from Peter. And then Peter also hooked me up with my boy Sal. He's a cop, like Santa Monica PD, just retired though. Went to the retirement. Shout out to Sal. But like he always has like first responder dudes. Like
He's connected.
freaking Navy SEALs. Peter Berg is cool. He's just a cool dude. We went to fight together. We went to Luke Rockhold's fight in Utah. In Utah. It's all full circle.
All connected.
He's just a cool guy.
All right, so who do you think for so Patrick Mahomes, it's got to be Travis Kelce, right?
I bet you Trav's really good.
Because if you don't go Travis Kelce and you lose, it's like, well, why the fuck?
Trav looks like he
right
can play
there?
basketball, and and he's from Ohio. The Cincinnati boys. I know some Cincinnati folk. They're all fucking those Ohio boys. They play a lot of that beer pong. We used to play cornhole and stuff. They're all good at that. So Patty and Kelce,
Eagles.
Well, he throws a good deep ball, so he probably throws a good ping. Jalen, you gotta go Jalen.
You got Barkley. You got AJ Brown. You got Saquon.
Yo, I think I've actually played beer
Devontae
pong with
Smith.
Saquon.
Really?
Yeah, and Austin at Danny's house once.
How was he?
He's pretty fucking good.
Pretty fucking good, or like the best guy on the Eagles? This is the championship of beer pong here. You can't be pretty good.
Hurts.
Cooper DeJean, Devontae Smith.
Ooh, we got to get one of the exciting whites. They got to. DeJean, he's pretty athletic. I saw him dunking up. That little boy could dunk.
You know who's
Blankenship?
You got fucking Kenny Pickett too. I feel like backup quarterback might be really good at beer pong.
And he's a Pittsburgh kid. Fucking those Pittsburgh kids, those dudes are all fucking in those fucking like cold brick fucking houses. I've been in them on like a hill, playing hella beer pong.
Basement in the winter.
That's like some straight Ohio, because Ohio is like super close to Pittsburgh, Kent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'd always have like the terrain is very well. Pittsburgh, you feel like you're going down into like a mine. It's crazy.
You come out with the black lung.
You come out. I got the black lung, paw.
Playing beer pong semester.
So who's our Jalen and who?
I don't think it's Jalen, and I think with this Eagles team, because their line is their identity, you got to go with like one of those lines.
Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
He's a quarterback. He was a
Yeah.
quarterback in high school. Lane Johnson's for sure in there.
Yeah. And too bad.
No, and then I'm going Lane, and I'm going Big Dom.
Big
Team.
Dom.
Team. Big Dom and Lane.
There's an intimidation factor with Big Dom too.
Dude, Big Dom plays some beer pong, dog.
Will you tell us about your little Philly day?
Philly day was sick. So who's winning that match real quick?
Lane Johnson and Big Dom versus Mahomes and Kelsey.
Yeah.
I mean, that one's kind of obvious, right?
Yeah, Mahomes, Kelsey. I had the Philliest day ever. Fucking crazy. Wake up. We have to go do like a walkthrough of the show at the stadium, get our beats, kind of see the stadium, get a feel for the environment, see the beautiful sets that the Fox crew put up in Lincoln Financial. So you got to do a walkthrough day, go through the show. After that, had a lot of time. So go back to the crib, hit up my boy Davo. I'm like, yo, I need a haircut, dude. You got a guy out here? So he's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, yo, I also need to get a cheesesteak. Where should I go? He goes, all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna eat Angelo in South Philly with the Cooper Sharp. That cheesesteak. All right, we're gonna get that. We're gonna pizza, and then we're gonna get the haircut by Bryce Harper's barber above Angelo's while eating with Big Dom in there. So I'm like, all right, let's go. Go down to South Philly, walk over there, get out, go upstairs. Place is packed. Cheesesteak is phenomenal. The pizza's spectacular. I'm in the kitchen of the condo above the restaurant, getting faded up by my guy. I got to get his name. I forgot his name. Bryce Harper's dude, though. So, like, it's pretty Philly, you know. He's a Philly guy. Davo, he's Mr. Philadelphia. He's in there, brings in Big Dom. Big Dom and I just start chopping it up while I'm eating a chili or a cheesesteak, getting a haircut. Big Dom is like, yo, you need a ride? Get in the Big Dom mobile. He's got a blacked out Escalade, hella sick, going through lights and stuff. I don't know if that's legal, but he's got fucking sound. Boo! Everyone's looking at Big Dom driving down Philly like, yo, Big Dom. It was fucking insane. And then we're driving in Big Dom mobile. And you know in Rocky or in Creed where you see all the dudes from the hood and the dirt bikes and shit. Yeah. I swear I saw three dudes wheeling down fucking Philly, bro. Philly is hot. Philly, it was, and then I go back to my house and I go back to the hotel, which is spectacular, beautiful hotel. That Four Seasons in Philly. Very nice. Gronk has been talking about it for fucking 2 weeks. It was nice. Get back there. I go over my goddamn work, and I'm like, all right, got to get over my work. I want to go over my beats, this, that. Start thinking about questions you're going to ask because I had to do an interview. I was a little nervous, whatever. So I go back, and then I'm like, all right, I got my shit. I feel good. I'm confident. Get in bed, brush my teeth, lie down, turn on the TV. Invincible's on. Invincible's on. I watched the whole goddamn movie. Vince Papali was walking down the same goddamn area in South Philly earlier that day, getting a goddamn haircut at Angelo's while eating a cheesesteak, eating a slice.
Incredible.
And then Rocky came on after.
I was going to say,
I fell asleep.
The only thing more Philly would have been Rocky.
I couldn't do it. Yeah. It was such a fucking Philly day. It was so Philly.
You said you saw AJ Brown too?
Yeah, Big Dom. He FaceTimed AJ Brown. AJ's a cool kid, man. I'm happy for him. He's a beast too.
Maybe he'll be on the Pats next year. Who knows?
Philly's very similar, to Boston.
Just a little bit bigger.
It's bigger. It's like if Boston and New York had a kid that was bigger than
if you did like New York's footprint, but Boston's kind of level of urbanness.
Yeah, I don't know. But I just felt like, you got the cobble streets, like South Philly, like a lot of that feels like it almost felt like you're in South Boston. Yeah. A little flatter.
Yeah. And all the history too.
Yeah. And then I went up into like Angelo's and I felt like I was going up into like a North End apartment. You know what I mean? Like it felt very similar because I used to go to DeMonica's. There's the deli and then you go above My boys, you know, you go chill up there. It's the same. It was like that same kind of vibe. I mean, they're both East Coast beautiful.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, with like heavy immigrant population.
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of Italian,
Irish,
a lot of Irish.
You know what I love about Philadelphia that Boston doesn't have is the consolidated sports arenas. Like Wells Fargo is right next to Lincoln, is right next to Citizen Bank. They're all right there. They share a parking lot. Like there's like a little bit of like a sports connectivity with Boston. It's Foxborough, you got Gillette, you got, you know, the Garden is right in the city, which is cool. Fenway's right in there, but it's nice to have it all consolidated.
That would be. I mean, I think that's what Kraft wanted.
Yeah, they're gonna do it in what, like
South Boston, I heard.
With the Olympics, that whole fucking thing.
That would have been sick if we were in the city. But then
when they figure
I like
out
having one way into Foxborough, one way out.
When they figure
the
out
traffic makes it awesome.
If they can figure out the Revolution Stadium to be like in Boston proper,
I thought they were going to. They were building something over there.
Like near the Encore or something. I don't know.
That'd be tight.
All right, last question.
I'm going to ask this pretty simple question regarding the Super Bowl. Who wins? Do the Eagles win or do the Chiefs win? Thank you.
I think the Chiefs are going to three-peat. That's where my gut tells me. I don't have any fucking I'm not going to Dan Orlowski it like, well, this. Like we all can do that. I don't know. I think the Chiefs, they just thrive. If it's close, that's who you put your money on.
Super Bowl's always got something fucky going on.
Yeah.
They've been there. They know what they're doing. They don't make mistakes.
These Eagles could.
If they can just run it down their throat.
I don't know, but
control the game.
I heard Tom talking on Coward. It was really, really brought me back to those days. He said, you know, it's a 4-hour game. A lot of times defenses just die at the end. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
It'll be a good one.
It'll be a good one. Be a really good one. Those are some great voicemails. Keep them coming. That was the Chill Zone thanks to our favorite beer, Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/GWN. Celebrate responsibly. That was a fun game to do with Bill Burr.
He's a legend.
He's a legend.
He's the perfect guest for this show. Funny, knows his shit. It's been around the block, cares.
And has a thing against my shoes. And that's been another episode of Games with Names presented by Coors Light. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Comment a game you want us to do. And remember,
rate and review.
Leave us a 5-star review on Spotify while you're there. Real funny, Kyler. Remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. Leave a comment on the YouTube full episode. We'll read the best ones in future episodes.
Little call to action there.
Little call to action. Leave a message on the hotline at 424-291-2290, and we'll see you guys next week. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.